everybody. Welcome to the Mana Traders coverage series featuring Vintage. That's right, we're playing some old cards today. My name is Corey Baumeister. That's Ross Merriam. We're going to be bringing you coverage here of the top eight. And we got some spicy matches lined up for you. And we had a really good tournament already so far. What have you liked so far about Vintage?
I have liked one, how action packed the early turns are.
Yes.
There's no sort of build up time in these games. We just get right into really important,
Yeah.
high leverage turns, and also how difficult it is or how important it is to close games quickly
Yeah.
because you're almost never out of it. We saw
Yeah.
some incredible comebacks yesterday. That runner, ancestor recall
Oh my
into the
God.
time walk. It was absolutely unreal.
Honestly, that was great. Baron of Bacon, which I found out later is my buddy Sean that I've talked to quite a bit. His comeback up against
It's against shops, right?
yeah, against Shops, where we were already looking for another match to go watch. That's how far behind he was and came back in that one to secure a top eight spot.
Stole it with the secret ability on the manifold key,
Yes,
making the Luris unblockable too. That was nice.
unblockable nightmare kitty to
Yeah.
risk or to race a construct token.
Got to use every part of the buffalo.
Exactly. It was fantastic. So if you want to check out the coverage from yesterday, please go back, check the VODs. I'll have this video up on my YouTube channel as well if you want to go back and check that out as well. So first, let's take a look at our bracket, where we're going to be at as far as our top eight players to finish off this broadcast. And then we'll start checking out some deck lists here. So, all right, here's our top eight players. Wizards 2002 was pacing the field as the only undefeated player. So, for sure, losing round one.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you think?
Can't possibly win.
Yeah, absolutely impossible. Send all the way down to fifth place. Baron of Bacon all had an X and 1 record, 18 points going into this 7-round tournament yesterday. And then 6th, 7th, and 8th all snuck in on breakers with a sea of 15 players going all the way down to 19th place here. So what we're going to be starting with here is the jig is always up and allies forever. Not necessarily our highest seed or anything, but we'll show you the main reason. Let's start with the jig is always up's deck list because this is a really spicy one. It's looked really cool. And I've been a big fan of this list. So paradoxical outcome, only one of its kind in the top eight. Ross, walk us through it.
So this is a deck, that really takes what Vintage is known for, which is the fast artifact mana, and pushes it as far as it can go. Not only do you see the full set of jewelry, Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Black Lotus, you see 4 copies of Good Monolith, 2 copies of Mox Opal, and the 4 copies of Coveted Jewel. To really get a ton of artifact mana going, and that turns Paradoxical Outcome into a really powerful card. You're able to cast it, draw 4, 5, 6 cards, and then replay all of this artifact mana. And sometimes Paradoxical Outcome can both draw cards and net you mana. So you end up with these combo turns between that and the One Ring, where you're drawing a bunch of cards, netting a ton of mana, and eventually setting up a kill somehow.
Yeah, agreed. And so the thing about this deck, maybe it doesn't mulligan as well as some of the other decks, maybe some of the Oath of Druid decks that we're going to be seeing later, maybe the more arguably the most impressive deck that we saw all day yesterday. But when you can do its thing, it does the thing, and it has a lot of different things. So I mean, that's a good deck right there. When you can tinker, have a good package for that. You can have the metamorphs to start copying some Jeweled Lotus or wait, Coveted Jewel, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then of course you still just have all the power. This is one of the decks where you're just playing every single box. I believe that's all of them.
Yeah, full set of jewelry.
No reason to not play any of them, not play all of them. It's just better than lands in this deck when you're ramping into colorless spells. So big fan of this deck. And quick reminder to everyone why these are all blacked out. Well, they're too powerful. Too powerful of cards. And yeah, I guess the graphics for Melee was not really set up for Vintage because, well, you only played online.
Yeah, not a very common format, but a very fun format.
Yeah.
You also have the 4 Mishra's Workshop in this deck, so just a ton of fast mana. You're trying to play really powerful cards starting on turn 1. Turn 1, the One Ring is very easily doable in this deck. Turn 1, Trinisphere as your one piece of a proactive disruption. You also have the 4 Force Wills to protect you or important threats. So this deck is super explosive, super fun, and when it gets rolling, it starts doing some nutty things, particularly with Coveted Jewel and Metamorph copying it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was one of the outlying decks. We have three Oath of Druid decks, three Demir um control, I guess we're gonna say, these Lurrus style tempo decks. You can categorize them really in whatever shade you want, but just trying to play Orcish Bowmaster and things.
This is the fair blue deck of the format.
Fair blue deck of the format as well. We also have one mono white initiative deck, but let's take a peek at Jig is Up's. Jig is always up, excuse me. I should
Yes,
know that.
never down.
Let's take a look at the Jig is Always Up's opponent, Allies Forever. This is the fair blue deck, the more traditional deck. You see four Bowmasters as really the only win con here. You do have the key and the time vault. That's such a free thing to play when you're playing Urza's Saga that most decks play that. But outside of this, just a lot of counter spells. There's nothing really too flashy about this deck, Ross.
Yeah, this is the interactive fair deck of the format. So you see a ton of interaction in the form of, Force of Will, Force of Negation, Flusterstorm, Spell Pierce. The one of Mental Misstep is that one's restricted.
Yep.
Even a Fatal Push so that you can, answer some early creatures if that's necessary. Won't really be necessary in this matchup, but can be important for the deck in things like the Mono White Initiative or Workshop matchups. So, Urza Saga is another main threat in this deck. The Moxen just make Urza Saga constructs so easy. It's so easy to both activate Urza Saga early.
Yeah.
You can play a turn one Urza Saga and make constructs as early as turn two, and also makes those constructs really big. So, all a ton of interaction, and this is Allies Forever is going to have their work cut out for them trying to stop these really powerful turns from the paradoxical outcomes.
Yeah, that is one thing to be said about this top eight matchup playing against a kind of unique deck like the blue Tinker Paradoxical Outcome deck is, well, the Jig is Always Up has played against Demir Control, this tournament for sure. Maybe Allies Forever has played this matchup once or twice, but for the most part is not going to know exactly how to attack it. So that'll be an interesting fold. So pairings are going up, so we'll have that ready shortly. But let's take a look at Wizard 2002 deck list. They're playing Oath of Druids, and this is kind of what I would say is the deck of the tournament so far. Going into it, day one, it looked, S tier, and Ely Cassis was our bounty, gave away plenty of Mana Traders money yesterday, ended up, I believe, 4-3, so didn't quite make it. Didn't really like his build, said he trusted a friend, but said, you know what? If I could redo it, I'd pick the S tier deck. And I was like, well, what is that, Ely? And he said, Oath of Druid. It looks cracked, was the quote.
Yes, I am inclined to agree with both of you. It was the most impressive deck that we saw yesterday. And that's because it sort of blends the two main things that other vintage decks are doing into one deck. This is a deck that has a ton of interaction, like the Demir list that we just saw, and then has this huge over the top capability with Oath of Druids or Show and Tell into Atraxa Grand Unifier.
Yeah.
So, instead of having to kill meekly with a construct token or two or a Orcish Bowmaster, you just have this really powerful threat.
All right. Well, there's going to be powerful threats galore here in the top eight of the Mana Trader series. We're ready to go. Let's go into some quarterfinal action. Bang. Here we go. We are up. Allies Forever on the bottom, and the Jig is Always Up. Our number 2 seed and our number 7 seed, Allies Forever, going X and 1. The Jig is Always Up, sneaking in on breakers, and justice was served. Allies Forever did win the die roll. This is random in the top 8, which, I like it when I'm in 5th through 8th. But when I'm in 1st through 4th, it's not my favorite.
It's terrible.
All right, looking at these hands here, looks like Allies Forever is up first. We got 2 Moxes. We got Saga, I believe no black or blue mana, though? Oh, and never mind. Justice was not served. The Jig is Always Up. Won the die roll.
Okay. But they do have Lorien revealed to find a blue land.
Okay, gotcha.
So they can easily just cycle with one of the Mox and play the other one, play a land and play Bowmaster turn 1. Hopefully they find another blue card for that force, and then they have Saga to back it up. So a piece of disruption and a clock seems reasonable.
Okay, and what are we looking at from the Jig is Always Up here? We got some outcomes. We got Phyrexian Metamorph to, I guess, copy Mana Crypt if you want in the early stages. But this looks like a bit of a slower draw. Make a couple constructs. Smack them in the face with it a little bit, huh?
Yeah, they both have, Urza Saga draws 2 sagas on both sides, plenty of artifacts on both sides, especially with that third Mox coming off the top for Allies Forever. So this might be a good old-fashioned construct fight.
Crazy is it that Allies Forever had 8 cards in hand? 4 of them were from like the last 2 years of Magic, and the rest of them were from when the dinosaurs
The
still roam
first
the
2 years
earth.
of Magic, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and still now 4 out of the 5 cards were within the last like 3 years, and then you have Force of Will when movies
Yeah.
were still in black and white.
It's just 1995.
Whatever.
Maybe 90s. No, 95.
Okay, okay. I was a distinguished gentleman of 5 years old.
Yeah, go opting instead of cycling the Lord reveal to get the Bowmaster down. Bowmaster not that impactful here. Trying
Yeah.
to get Saga going. So I like that line. They can still use their mana to get that Luris.
And next turn they can pop off, right? I mean, like extremely pop off. Urza Saga Chapter 3 can get Soul Ring, so you can count the Urza Saga land on the left as 3 mana. The other Urza Saga counts 4, 5, 6 with Mana Crypt, 7, 8 with Ancient Tomb. Coveted Jewel adds 3, which pays for a Metamorph straight away. And then you can Paradoxical Outcome. The way I'm seeing, the Jig is always up, can empty their hand next turn and start doing the Sentai divining tricks. With the face-up information. We know there's a counter spell and stuff, but that's the kind of absurd lines that this Paradoxical Outcome deck can do, and something to keep an eye on when you're watching this deck perform.
Yeah, and they're also just making a construct, so fighting along that axis too. So, forcing the opponent, the reactive player, to fight a war on 2 fronts, which is always
Yeah.
a good thing.
And that's exactly what I would like to see the Jig is always up do here, is not go for that line. I think this is a perfect turn to tap that Mana Crypt and make a construct and start getting value. Get Soul Ring to activate the other Urza Saga, and when this value is up, then start casting your spells, because it's all about putting your opponent on the back foot, trying to react to your construct, and while they're reacting to the construct and distracted, then you pull out the big stops.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that seems to be the line that they're taking here.
Yeah. And now that being said, there is 2 Urza Sagas on the other side, essentially mirror matching here. And the other thing I'm noticing is, wait, there's a Time Vault, and there's a Sagon too. Is that good?
I think that could be gain. With the Force of Will back too.
Yeah, I mean,
So even if the top is able to find a Force of Will for the Jig is always up.
is there even Force Wills or anything in the Jig is always up's
Yeah.
deck?
They have 4 Force.
Okay. Has the Force backup? Yeah, as far as I'm seeing, Lights Forever is like, yeah, you go ahead and make some bigger constructs. It's not going to matter. So it looks like this is a saga in response to Chapter 3, in case Pithing Needle got. And I got bad news for you. The Jig is always up. I don't think we're getting that one.
It's worse than Pithing Needle.
Yeah.
Or worse for you.
Yeah. Yeah, Time Vault for anyone just joining, any new vintage viewers. First of all, welcome. Thanks for joining us here on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Time Vault comes into play tapped. If you can untap it, you can tap it and take an extra turn. Manifold Key untaps an artifact. I think you can put it together from there.
Yeah. We're going to take a lot of turns.
In fact, all of them. There we go. Allies Forever takes it down. And, as the kids would say, I think that's a Splinter Twin situation.
Yeah.
That might be the OG Splinter Twin.
Urza Saga being able to find Manifold Key to set up that combo makes it so much more potent.
Yeah.
Saga just such a powerful card. It's actually why the fair decks have to play Wasteland and Strip Mine now.
Yeah.
They used to be more worried about their own mana, even in like Mishra's Workshop matchups. Where,
Yep.
But Urza Saga is so powerful against them that they have to have Wasteland and Strip Mine to answer it.
Makes sense to me. Okay, so we're looking at the Jig is always up sideboard here. What are we able to do against this style of deck?
Well, I like the defense grids.
Okay.
There's a lot of counter spells on the other side, so that's a very potent anti-counter spell measure.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm not.
Maybe Force
seeing a whole lot.
Negations?
Maybe, but you're the proactive deck. Force Negation's not very good at protecting your spells from opposing counters.
Yeah, unless you can get a lot of mana going.
So
I bet we'll still see them, but I agree they're not great. It's all a product of what do you want to bring out, and if there's like not a lot of cards you need to just take out of your deck, which I'm not seeing anything that jumps off the page, but I must say I am not a sideboarding expert in Vintage. As you really got to feel the decks, you really got to play with them to see, what kind of cards don't really feel right in certain matchups.
Yeah, you probably expect to slow down a little bit. Maybe you like trim a Mox Opal. you can be a little bit less explosive. Maybe you trim, expensive cards that are worse against their heavy counters, like one of the coveted jewels.
But they're
Um,
coveted.
but I definitely want to bring in the defense grids, which is another
Okay.
strike against force negation because that is not a combo.
That is not. No. It is a combo if you protect it on your turn, right? Or does it? I mean, still, I think force negation out of this deck is to force through their own stuff. I mean, even that last turn when you were able to get up to 7 mana with 2 blue and you had the Mystic Forge and you had force negation backup, like that's still a great turn. If you go Mystic Forge, your opponent pitches something to force and you force a negation it back, all of a sudden you got a 2 for 2 and you've resolved your very impactful spell.
Yeah, if you can just play it as a 3 mana negate,
Yeah.
that's probably the best mode.
Excuse me, it's cancel. All right. Game number 2. And what do we got up top? So that's a turn 1 Soul Ring, but ew. And is that dismembers?
2 dismembers. There's 3 in the sideboard, so I guess those came in.
I mean, I guess Bowmaster is that important, right?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is that hand kept? Isn't that hand awful?
I mean, you got Sensei Stop, and you're only 1 mana away from casting the One Ring.
I guess.
Vintage, you can keep no landers.
I mean, the One Ring plan is not going to work out.
Between both players' hands, there's 1 land, but there's 9 mana. Or 8 mana.
What a silly format. Just Dismember looks so poor in this particular situation. Still looks poor somehow.
You got 2 copies of the One Ring. You're going to have to kill that Bowmaster.
Yeah. I'm not happy about it. Okay.
But a ton of counter spells in hand for Allies Forever, too.
Yeah, Force of Will, just pitch or Spell Pierce the first ring. Okay. Well,
nice Spell Pierce.
Wow. Okay, that was a draw. I guess you just have to Force of Will them both now, but
yeah, probably pitching the Spell Pierce.
yeah. I could easily see that. Flusterstorm also doesn't seem like it has the most text.
Yeah, good against Paradoxical Outcome, but that's about it.
Yeah. So the one nice thing that will happen here is Bowmaster is going to come down. That's going to get dismembered. You're going to leave around a pesky little orc. And you can use the remaining mana from the Jig is Always Up to at least do some topping and set up your next draw. So not terrible. As it stands now, just all resources are depleted for both players. That being said, Allies Forever is 1 land away from just land, Black Lotus, buy Lurrus, play Lurrus, return Black Lotus.
Which would be nice, but you don't have the Mishra's Bauble to start drawing cards with it.
Yeah, you don't have anything going on. Like, getting that much mana is not great, but a free Nightmare Kitty is still not bad.
And the Jig is Always Up has the second Dismember to answer that Lurrus.
Yeah.
There will still be an Orc Army token lying around, and you're taking a bunch of damage at that point. 8 damage from 2 Dismembers, 1 damage from this Bowmaster trigger. So you're at 11, taking 1 a turn. But
best possible for the Jig is Always Up. The Jig is Always Up. I guess you don't even need to dismember right now. You can do it later, but that was exactly what the Jig is Always Up needed. A way to get rid of that second dismember, and it just ate up a 2-for-1. So as I was saying from the beginning, these dismembers look great.
Yeah,
they look
really
perfect.
Good call on those.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Well, there's the land that Allies needed to make the Lurrus play you described. So
yep.
Imagine that is what we're seeing right here.
But I think what else we're going to see is the Jig is Always Up being like, you know what? If I like it, I think I'm going to put a ring on it. And it's time to start drawing some cards.
I think we'll see Dismember on the Bowmaster, then the One Ring.
Phyrexian Metamorph as well. And you can actually only lose 2.
Ooh. Decides to answer. Oh, I guess you need to answer the Lurrus because then you answer Bowmaster and they just recast it.
Going for a more conservative line here. Okay.
Yeah, let's just answer the battlefield.
Now this runs afoul if something like Force and Negation was top decked and you don't have access to your One Ring. But otherwise, this is nice. Take the legs out from Allies Forever. I guess the one thing I did not like is we did just take we did just lose 2 life for no reason, right? Because we
Yeah.
have 1 floating mana and we dismembered for only 1 mana?
Yeah. And maybe you would have found something with the top that you wanted to use that mana on, but then you
Sure.
should just
You
top
just do
first.
that first,
Yeah,
yeah.
just do that first. Mox Jet off the top is not going to help allies, so this looks very well set up
Oh,
for the Jig is always up. They've got Saga going now. They're going to have the One Ring this turn.
okay. So now they're just gonna make sure the One Ring doesn't deal them lethal damage, but that's gonna be like 4 or 5 turns. Should be pretty fine off that. Maybe something like a top deck Bowmaster could, a timely Bowmaster could do some damage.
Army's going to trade. And yeah, allies need something good here. Saga is not bad. It's a little
Yeah,
slow.
not amazing there.
They really need is this One Ring to kind of brick.
Yeah, exactly. Now the question, we haven't seen the One Ring activated yet. Is this going to be a situation where they're like, you know what, I'm too far ahead, I'm not even going to touch it? Wow, that's kind of shocking to me. I
Interesting.
get it.
Also, maybe this Saga grabs a Pithing Needle for the other Saga.
Okay. Just shut
As
it
an
down
option.
now. I like that. Is it in the list?
There's a needle in the. Ooh, that's roll deck. There's a needle in the sideboard for both
Okay.
of them.
And I believe it came in. So yeah, take out the opposing sagas and just be down, right? This is just 2-turn clock.
Yeah, these are going to be 8/8 constructs once we play the top and the Mox Ruby. So
Well, this was a strange game. This was a very strange game.
One of the fairer games we've seen the Jig play.
Yeah.
Ooh, they named Time Vault.
Oh, just says that's the only way I can lose.
Yeah.
And says you can make a construct. It's going to be a chump blocker next turn. It's going to eat up mana. All right. I like it. Doesn't attack with Bowmaster to make sure to not get blown out by a Bowmaster. I guess you kind of do that already, but whatever. Okay.
Land off the top is not going to help, and these are they almost both lethal constructs. I guess, yeah, the construct plus Bowmaster is lethal, so you just attack with everything. One blocker is not enough.
Yep, that'll do it. Okay, game number 3 from our first quarterfinal match. And yeah, here's the sideboard if we want to check that out. We'll do a quick peek at any other top 8 matches, see if they have finished yet. Still no results in as of now.
Yeah, and this is the Allies Forever sideboard. Definitely the Pithing Needle is coming in. As a variety of things to name, from the One Ring to opposing Urza Sagas or Time Vaults. Then we've got Mindbreak Trap is somewhat interesting.
Okay.
The outcome deck can definitely turn Mindbreak Trap into a free counter spell on a lot of turns. You just need a lot of interaction against them.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't be surprised if that came in as well.
Yeah, any of the PO turns, like you have to stop those.
Yeah.
All right, so opening hands here. Oof. Starting at the bottom, we see a lot of lands. Urza Saga and Wasteland has some utility, but not even a card to pitch to force. That's definitely a close one at best.
Yeah, that one seems pretty weak.
Sus.
Whereas the hand up looks nice.
Yeah, we got Ancient Tomb and City of Traders, so you can play that in any order. All right, now this one's a mulligan to a recall. We got a land, so that's a turn 1 recall. You just got to keep that.
Yeah,
right?
Mox Emerald, Cycle the Lorien Revealed, get your blue source.
And just cast it right away. Because you can play the bauble as well, so you're not discarding. And a Hercules 3 card. Okay. We're in for it. This is going to be a good game.
Yeah.
And you just do it now, right? You give them less chances to have any kind of counterspell.
Might do it on their upkeep against Force Negation.
Wait, does Mindbreak Track work proactively? It's just when your opponent has cast 3, right? Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see this Ancestral on the opposing upkeep.
Yeah, if there's Force Negations.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it should for sure do that, because you're not giving them any extra cards. It doesn't matter. And you could top deck Force of Will. I bet that's why they bobbled themselves, just in case. So
they drew the Spell Pierce off that bobble. I might have just held the Ancestral then.
I would have if I had another blue source, but without having a blue source, I think I'd jam.
Now this defense card is going to resolve. It could have gotten pierced.
Yeah. So everything costs what, 3 more?
3 more on your opponent's turn for both players. Any spell cast on the opposing turn.
Okay.
Uh, and so these counter spells are all bad. The Wasteland is nice on this Ancient Tomb.
Yeah, and Time Walk can just be used as a draw spell right now. You can just think. I don't even know if I would Wasteland. If I'm in a Time Walk, I'm not going to Wasteland yet. There's no point, right?
Yeah. 3 there, but and we have to main faces Bowmaster. Our counter spells are all bad.
Yeah. Pretty.
You could Hercules Recall here, I guess, and then pierce the defense grid on the way back down.
Not bad.
Might be necessary just so your Mindbreak Trap is turned on.
I think I'd try to get a little more value out of it. I think I wouldn't be that afraid. If my opponent could one ring, pretty realistically, I think I would. But since the fact that they'd need a Ancient Tomb style land, I guess all they'd need is Workshop. And then they'd still be able to do it with Workshop. So you put Workshop out of your mind. So all they'd have to do is have like a City of Traders, an Ancient Tomb, plus another Mox. It seems like they would have played the other Mox.
Yeah.
So I would put them at probably not doing anything too crazy. So I would wait a turn. I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah, we can get the Bowmaster down first. That is reasonable. Going for the Hercules. Okay. Ooh, Force Will the draw. Or the jig is always up. They've got a blue card to pitch to it in the Metamorph, so I think this defense grid is once again going to resolve.
Oh, yeah. Defense is up. I mean, defense grid seems insane.
Really importantly, they didn't play the Mox first, because then the Force of Will would have been a third spell. So they've played around Mindbreak Trap beautifully here.
Oh, my God. And now you can play it, because you'd have to pay 3. All right. Expert plays so far. Now, that being said, the rest of the jig is always up. Hand is bad. And City of Traders is not the land you want as your only land when you need more lands.
That is very true.
Yeah.
They need to find another Soul Land or Mishra's Workshop so they can cast either Coveted Jewel or Mightstone and Weakstone here.
Yeah. Yeah, Workshop would be insane.
Black Lotus would also be good.
Black Lotus, I think, is usually pretty good. I would have to agree. Let's see what we can find. Yeah, Black Lotus is the best draw for sure.
I also wouldn't mind a Manifold Key.
Manifold Key, okay. How about Paradoxical Outcome?
Huh.
Didn't even play the Time Vault.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, wow. Are they just not going to find more lands? This Bowmaster is an 8-turn clock.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
Oh,
here's Luris.
Yep.
With Bobble. So, all of a sudden, the jig is always up, might be up.
You need to find mana.
Okay, that's actually pretty good. Kind of need that. You cannot let Luris hang around.
Even then, yeah, they're going to go to 12. They're going to go to 8 from the Dismember. Now they've only got 4 turns left.
Yeah. Okay, here's Bobble. And I'm sure here's going to come Luris, bring back Bobble right away. And even with that Dismember, I mean, Allies Forever is still going to get to draw 2 cards. And the jig is always up, has 1 mana, and it's red. You know, like.
Yeah, they had 3 sources of mana in their opening hand. Haven't drawn another one. And the double Wasteland has been huge.
And didn't even Dismember, didn't use the mana.
Can't Dismember on the end step because of defense grid.
Oh, of course, yeah. Everything being, for both players in Legacy is interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, they used to make you work for it.
Yeah. So now we got Dismember, and I'm still very shocked that Time Vault's not on the battlefield.
Yeah, that would be an easy way to steal this game.
Exactly. All right, so Dress Down, Mental Misstep, Mindbreak Trap, not amazing, but we're getting to the stage of the game where Allies Forever can now just leave mana open and interact their defense grid.
Yeah, if the Mindbreak Trap is turned on for 0, then you only need 3 mana.
Or you can Mental Misstep.
This Daze is actually looking pretty nice.
Yeah, you can Daze for 3. You can cast a Dress Down. Plenty of things. And the next land's all wrapped up to head to the graveyard. That Wasteland. How about a 6-drop?
I wouldn't be surprised if this gets Dazed just to protect from the combo.
Man, you know what's gonna happen, right? You know what's gonna happen is a key is gonna be on top for the jig is always up. There's gonna be no answer for allies forever. And the fact that this time vault wasn't in play on the turn when we didn't use our mana, it's gonna be GG.
Yeah, the one turn with the City of Traders.
Exactly. All right, here's a strip mine.
Jesus.
Lands ain't safe. All right, here's this. Not many turns left. We got to find something next turn or the turn after. But I mean, the best draw is workshop, I guess, right? And then you get Might and Weakstone. That buys you a little time, or you draw some cards.
Well, you just kill the Bowmaster.
Probably, right?
Yeah, drawing cards is only you're gonna be dead on board.
Okay, Sensei's Dividing Top, misstep. Okay. That's gonna get countered.
Yeah, it's like one of the few cards that can get misstepped.
Yeah. I'd like to pay 3 for this.
Yeah, and paying the 2 life so that they can potentially Mind Break Trap something.
Oh yeah.
Now, yeah, I think. Oh, and that's a Mox. That'll do it because that's mana 7. Now we can hard cast Mind Break Trap through Defense Grid on anything Jig plays.
Yeah, I don't see a single out for the Jig is always up. The Jig is finally up. Phyrexian Metamorph is uncastable. Well, that's going to be GG. And our first player moving on to the top 4, a regular of the Mana Trader series. Allies Forever, always up here on the top of the standings. A multi-format all-star, proving that they're just as good in Vintage.
Yeah, those Wastelands.
All right, so
let's the story of the game.
Yep, exactly. So let's go back to the booth. Let's take a look at the bracket here real quick. Let's see if any other matches have finished. Okay. Okay, I lied. We're not doing any of that. We're going right into another game. That was the first match that finished. So, Baron of Bacon, my buddy Sean Hunter coming in against Usunk. Usunk? Okay. And this is Usunk is playing one of the 3 decks, and we got Baron of Bacon playing Dimir Control. Yep. So these are the decks. You know, these are the decks of Vintage right now. They both put 3 into the top 8. They both did some exceptional stuff. And starting it off, we got a Black Lotus, game 3 on the play. How do we feel about that?
Speaking of exceptional stuff, what if I had Atraxa on turn 1?
And there's nothing there.
Well, there's some good cards there.
Yeah.
But nothing to stop this Atraxa, and that's a problem.
And this was an all-in hand with the Atraxa. If there was any force, this was fine. Baron of Bacon gonna be like, well, I guess I should have mulliganed my recalled Time Walk hand. Like, what the heck? But you do get Mox Sapphire, and you can recall. Oh yeah, but the spell's already resolved, so it's not that cool.
You just want to do the recall in response.
Oh, of course. Baron's like, yes, those are exactly where I wanted those Force of Wills.
A little awkward that you had to put the Mox in as the only blue source. It would be, better to have put a land into play, because then you could play the Mox and play a land next turn and have 3 mana. But,
but being able to recall here is nice before any counter magic can get in hand.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, like what if they just put Mental Misstep into hand? You're like, you know what? It's the SpongeBob me and be like, all right, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, you have to play it that way. But if it were me, I'd be complaining about having to play it that way.
Exactly. So complaint equity is a real thing, especially in Ross's life.
And now the deck is just teasing you with 3 counter spells coming off the Ancestral.
It's like, oh, did you need either of these 3? Cool.
Guess you should have been on the play.
Guess you should have been on the play.
What did we find? We found a Mox, a Tinker, a Spell Pierce. That was pretty good.
My God, this Oath deck is awesome. This is definitely the deck I would play moving forward. And it doesn't seem incredibly hard, No,
it's really not that hard to put an Atraxa onto the battlefield.
Yeah, exactly. Atraxa, pick cards that look good now. All right, Mox Emerald comes down with that Flooded Strand. You got a Spell Pierce for, let's say, turn 2 Time Walk. And here's the thing. Baron of Bacon's deck, nothing like these PO decks that can kind of combo off at any point. Like, maybe we have the Time Vault and the Key. That seems to be in basically every deck. Outside of that, you're not doing these crazy over-the-top things.
Nope, and there's not really a way to remove an Atraxa from the battlefield unless we get to 8 mana and repeal it.
Oh, yeah, that's probably going to happen.
Yeah,
and I mean, as we say that, we have another thing to worry about next turn. We can just tinker.
Yeah, I take that back. There are 3 copies of Soul Rend in the sideboard.
So
some number of those could have come in.
Okay. Now all we have to do is find those and black mana, and we should be all set.
Well, the Lorien reveal takes care of the black mana.
Check.
So we're halfway there, right?
Okay. That's the easy half, right? Lorien revealed, gonna reveal a underground. See?
See if they want to go for the time walk or hold up spell pierce. Because if they go for time walk, it gets spell pierce.
Well, they can't go for time walk.
Oh, they already played the land. Okay. So yeah, so this is just a pass of the turn.
Just a sob. Just one big long cry.
We'll see if Usanka goes for one of these 3-drops next turn.
Tinker is an instant though, right?
No, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, then we might see it, and that could kind of steer Baron.
Tinker's not that good.
Okay.
Only one of the best cards in the format.
Sure. If it was instant, that'd be kind of absurd.
Yeah. They used to let you play 4 of them in extended.
Back in my day?
That was not okay.
Yeah. Did you have to walk uphill to your Magic tournaments in the snow both ways?
Yeah.
Okay.
We liked it.
You lived in North Dakota too? Sweet.
No, I definitely wouldn't have liked it then.
Okay, so here's a flash with Spell Pierce backup. That actually seems better.
I agree.
Now, here's the fun part. Is flash an instant? It feels like it should be.
It is.
Okay.
The entire point is that it gives your creature flash.
All right. So now I like this. Pass the turn. I almost like flashing on upkeep. And then you can have Spell Pierce backup to kind of interact. But I can easily see just waiting as well.
Yeah, if you wait till they do something, then it might inform how you pick cards off the Atraxa trigger.
Yep. So if we go for Time Walk here, it would be an interesting dynamic where we could Spell Pierce the Time Walk, or you could cast Flash first to get the Spell Pierce out of your opponent's hand. There'd be an interesting kind of play to it. But looks like we're just going with nothing, looking to take a slap of 7 to the face.
Second slap.
A second slap.
You can only take 2. The third one kills you.
It sure does.
Yeah, now we'll pick a fight with this flash on the end step, and it's even hard for Baron to fight over this because they know the Tinker's there. The Tinker was revealed off the first Atraxa.
Yeah, all the cards are revealed. So, I mean, they know about Tinker, Atraxa, Spell Pierce, probably one of the lands. They don't know about Forbidden Orchard and Oko, which is equally a problem. Oko, at least.
Yeah, so Spell Pierce there.
That's just going to work.
Yeah, I guess Pierce plus Force Will actually does cleanly answer both.
Yes.
So
wow, this would be an aggressive Spell Pierce if we fired it off. Oh. That puts a nice little wrinkle in the format. Anytime something looks pretty clear and straightforward, there's either Wasteland or Recall on top, and it completely breaks the game. Vintage is awesome.
You got a counter spell for this one?
Yeah. Okay, so didn't play anything.
Interesting.
Very strange.
I think they want to let Baron tap out for something so that their Spell Pierce is live.
Yeah. They're just like, you know what? Deal with this.
And the Atrax is lethal, so Baron has to do something this turn.
Yeah. So Baron does have a way out of this turn by time walking into the next turn with a land. That's it.
That gets a 5th card into the graveyard. You could potentially do some wastelanding, get a 6th card, and the next turn dig through time, try to find something.
Yeah. Okay, so a recall right away. Now you can force and you can time walk and dig this turn.
But you know about the Spell Pierce.
Yeah, but you can play around Spell Pierce. Well, I mean, the dig would walk into it, I guess. You're right.
So it would have to be that's the hard part. Is that, eventually you're gonna have to double spell.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think I like this, to be honest. Like, if your opponent's hand is this kind of weak stuff, maybe you can time walk this turn into a Soul Rend. No, wrong one colorless black card.
Bowmaster will buy some time.
Yeah, and you can go like this, and then Bowmaster. Well, it doesn't buy any time. It doesn't fly, so it doesn't do anything.
No, I always think that thing flies.
Yeah, why not? Give Bowmaster flying too. Give it Vigilance.
It's a Bowmaster. It should at least have reach.
It should have Death Touch too, right? Give it some Death Touch. Let's make it cost 1. What do you say, Ross? God dang, these Zoomers just trying to make all their two drops do everything. Want it to do laundry for you too?
That would be nice. Now, what are we even finding with this dig that resolves through a spell pierce?
Correct.
And even if we do manage to find like a counter spell to protect the removal spell, then you have to deal with the Tinker and the Oko.
Yeah, and honestly, you're one land shy of being able to do something really cool where you'd go Wasteland, Trop, go to second main, kill it, if you had one extra land in play. So here we go. If you find Soul Rend and a Mox, you can do that play.
Yep.
Double Wasteland, the blue sources in one main. And then honestly, well, then you're just going to get tinkered next turn, but still.
Yeah.
But it would be a great honor to advance to another turn.
Is Bolus Citadel good when you're at 32?
Well, I mean, they got to be playing what, like 30, 40 lands? Oh, 11? Okay.
They have 15.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably not getting Citadel locked there too easily.
Yeah, it's one of the benefits of having Lorien revealed in your deck. Not as many lands for your Citadel.
Yeah. Sean is hunting away for an answer here. I said GG's. All right, Sean Hunter is going to fall down. And we're going to have another Oath deck into the top 8. Let's check that bracket, Ross, and let's see if we got any other updates. Okay. So, looks like we have, Fake News falls down to Mono White Initiative.
Yeah, Fake News is one of our Oath players. So, Mono White defeating Oath. That's a matchup that's usually favorable for the Oath side. They like playing against creature decks. But
okay,
fast draws from the initiative deck and disruptive draws can still be very good.
Okay, excellent. Well, I guess if we got Wizard 2002's match, we can jump in. We're going to together as a broadcast, mildly shame Wizard 202 because they are double queuing. So that is probably why our match is going to the end. Don't you just love that?
I don't.
I don't either, but we're still going to check that match out.
I thought we were special.
I thought we were. We're just one of the vintage tournaments in Wizard 2002's live.
I'm not mad, though. I'm not mad.
Just a little disappointed. Yeah, absolutely. And we're rooting for you to lose, so we're going to cut to that match. All right, here we go.
That's not the match over. That's just the game ending.
Okay, to be fair, Wizard 202 has like 5 minutes on the clock. So we're going to take back everything we said about them. They're maybe not slowing this one up as much. So This is our number 1 seed. All jokes aside, Wizard 2002 did run the pace on the tournament. So heading to game 3, and we've never seen someone go XO in a tournament and then win the top 8, right? It's never been done.
Certainly not on the Mana Trader series.
No. Certainly not in the Mana Trader series.
Maybe somebody did it in some distant, faraway
land. Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon games or something.
Yeah.
But in Magic, it has never been done. So you got to put the huge onus here on Alayla 837.
Maybe the 72 Dolphins, they did it.
Oh, yeah. The reverse sweep there. Yeah, absolutely.
So, but nobody's done it since then. It's been 51 years.
Okay. We'll see if the drought's over here when we go into the next match. But once again, just Dimir control with the Druid. Anything really special about these lists, Ross? Or are they pretty much the same?
Same matchup we just saw, essentially. Very stock lists all around. When the cards are so powerful, you end up not having a ton of wiggle room because you got to play the busted cards.
You got to play the busted cards. So, while we get ready for this next game to start, our other side of the bracket, which is where we'll be starting off our next round, we'll have Allies Forever Dimir Control up against Mood Madness, our lone initiative player. Initiative was the most played deck going into this field at 25%. So to see them only put one into the top 4 is a little underwhelming, wouldn't you say?
Oh, certainly. So not a very good day for Initiative after about round 3. Looked like the deck was performing well, and then back end of the tournament really got hammered. But I kind of like it against the control deck. You put a lot of pressure on them. You have good disruption. You have really powerful threats, and there's not a lot of creature removal in these control decks. It's a lot of counter spells. So if one threat slips through the cracks, it's a problem. There's 4 copies of Cavern of Souls in the initiative deck. So slipping through counter spells, pretty easy.
Every control player's worst nightmare. All right, so looking at the hands here up top, we got a lot of force wills.
And on the bottom, we don't have a lot of going. So that, yeah, first hand gets sent back. Now we
Okay.
have Orchard Mox Oath. That's the combo.
Wow.
And if that gets countered, we can Oko on turn 2.
Okay.
That's the backup plan is Oko.
And yeah, there are counter spells to be had.
Yeah, I imagine we will see multiple Force Wills. And honestly, these Spirit tokens from the Forbidden Orchard might
Win the
do a lot of
game.
attacking.
Forbidden Orchard, it looks like it has only upside in this matchup. And that's mostly true, but not always true.
Hey, Flusterstorm is the card that got pitched. Is that what I just saw?
I'm starting to think our hand up top is not accurate. Since none of those cards were in the hand.
And
So we'll have our director check on that. But in the meantime, I don't know if it's gonna matter. Because look at what's happening right now. This Oath of Druid deck is down to 1 red mana. We'll have Underground Sea. Okay, there is an upgraded hand. There's Soul Ring. Urza Saga doesn't look great either. Demonic Tutor off the top is a welcome sight. It's probably going to get a card called Ancestral Recall.
yeah, that seems like a reasonable one. And we really need colored mana and blue cards in LL's hand. Ooh,
Yeah.
instead going for the Misty to guarantee Oko next turn. Interesting.
Okay, that is interesting.
Maybe sensing some weakness, saying, I think my Oko is going to resolve. And unfortunately for them, it's not, because we found a dig through time. That can get pitched to the Force of Will.
Whoa.
And the Soul Ring alone with the Saga is going to make some construct tokens, so we've got pressure.
Okay, so here we go. We have a Misty to be able to get Oko going. You could go for the top. That seems worse. But I mean, the good news for Wizard 2002 is they don't. On the other side, there's no black mana for these Bowmasters, but the Saga alone is going to be threatening. I mean, 2/2 and a 3/3. These spirits are not artifacts, correct? Okay.
They are colorless, but not artifacts.
Okay. They look like artifacts.
Yes, that is the actual spirit token from Kamigawa block that Forbidden Orchard used.
Gotcha.
Colorless doesn't fly.
I went through Kamigawa, just straight, played standard, played some limited Kamigawa. I was in my let's play like an 87 card deck and not worry about a curve or any of that nonsense type of magic, but I was there.
So basically the same thing you do now.
Pretty much, yeah. Still don't mulligan.
Our third co-host is here.
Our third co-host, Henry Barkington, in the background. Oko resolved.
Okay.
No, Oko. That seems like a blunder.
Well, not really sure why that happened.
Yeah, especially with no blue mana. This seems really risky. And now, that being said, I wouldn't even say it's huge advantage back to Wizard because, well, you still have some stuff that can pressure this Oko and you can deal with it at some point, but this was risky. Now, Mox Jet off the top for a Bowmaster is pretty nice here.
You know, but maybe it's just knowing that a card like Oath of Druids is just so powerful in this spot, you need to save the Force Will for it.
I get it.
We've got construct tokens and now Bowmasters to be able to pressure this Oko.
Yeah, because I get it. Even if you Sensei's Divining Top right now into Oath, I think you have to counter it.
Oh yeah, you can't let an Oath resolve. You have creatures.
Yeah. And you want to make more of them. So in response to a divine activation, do you counter? Or do you Bowmaster or do you Saga?
I think you got to make constructs. That's your best way of pressuring the Oko.
Really? Because I mean, the Bowmaster also makes a 2/2.
Well,
Right.
this construct is going to be attacking as a 5/5.
Yeah, okay. That is probably better. And didn't go for the draw off the top anyways. There is a construct.
We could even find Lotus to double a Bowmaster. Okay, now we can just find. No, Mana Crypt won't do it because we need another black.
Nope. I bet we just find. Did we just find a blue Mox?
Could do Pithing Needle.
Pithing Needle on Oko? That seems great.
Oko or top.
That seems great. All right, and we did see that red stress timer pop up in our top gamer. Still should be plenty of time, so it shouldn't really be a factor, but something to keep an eye on.
The saga is, I guess, another reason not to counter the Oko. You've got Needle if you need it, but with the Mox drawn now, okay, we found Cage just to protect against an oath, also reasonable. But now with the Mox drawn, these constructs are 6/6s. This is a lethal attack towards the Oko.
Okay, going at it.
Ooh, I think I would have attacked with the Spirit too. If they want to eat the Spirit and the Oko dies, fine.
Yeah, because otherwise you just chump this for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, you got it, right?
yeah.
Just leaving around a tasty food doesn't seem great. But now everything's looking great. So the cage does what it's needed or does what it's good at, shutting down the combo here. Plus, you have a force for whatever they play. Bowmaster can be cast right away. So yeah, I mean this looks like the prophecy is going to be fulfilled, where XOing the Swiss means you do not win in the
Yeah.
top 8.
Really, this quarterfinals, it's all the story of Urza Saga to me. We saw Urza Saga set up the combo kill with Vault Key. We've seen Saga be super aggressive through counter spells with these construct tokens. It lets you get something going on a low base of resources.
Yep.
There were multiple force wills here for LL to deal with early threats.
Oh, and look at this.
With Urza Saga, it just didn't matter that you were so far down on cards. Urza Saga got you, plenty of pressure.
So here we go. In response to the draw, Bowmaster pointing at the Oko. You're going to get another damage, another amass token, and Beseju. Okay. An uncounterable way to deal with one of these constructs.
Could also deal with the cage.
True. Okay.
It's like it's in the construct, so you keep your elk alive.
Okay. Now, still a good battlefield, but Oko can really come back in this battlefield. One more Beseju off the top, for instance, and all of a sudden, I like the Oko versus the world. Now we know this. Top is on top.
They'll take a spin, look at the top 3, see if there's anything they like. Oath of Druids is now turned off by the Graph Digger's Cage, so that is not a live draw for Wizard.
I mean, Beseju number 2 is probably the best one, if there's even a second one. Does look like there's 2 in the list.
Yep. Oh, that would. No, we can't even cast it. I was gonna say Force of Vigor would be a solid one.
Yeah, but there's still the Force,
Yep.
There's still just everything locking this down. There's a Strip Mine.
Take the only green source away.
Yeah. Take the only black source away. I guess you're not really caring about that too much.
Yeah, black is only there for the tutors, Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor.
All right, we got an Elk, a 2/2, and a 1/1 coming in. This is a tricky attack because Bowmaster number 2 can make this Orc army a 3/3.
Yeah.
And that will take care of Oko. If that 2/2 Orc army block looks so scrumptious that if it happens, 4 damage to Oko plus the ping from Bowmaster, it is just like a absolute perfect scenario here. And a reminder, I still see a beautiful little heart symbol by Arela's life total there to pick up Luris at any point.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
There we go. There's that Nightmare Kitty.
I don't think there's a block here that keeps the Oko alive.
3. No, there isn't.
So yeah, Oko's going to go down, and this is going to be a huge advantage on the battlefield for Wizard. We were thinking the Oko was going to snap draw that second Force Will.
Yeah.
LAL knew better. They're just like, no, I can deal with this Oko.
It may be 4 turns from now, but I'll deal with it. Oko is about to go Broco. And now you can also Strip Mine and put Luris in hand.
And hold up Forcible.
Is that good?
They got it all.
I mean, you can also maybe dig. I guess we do need a second blue, so that's not great yet. Do you Strip Mine? Probably,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And just hit the Trop and buy Luris?
Hit the Trop, buy Luris, and we've got, what is that, 6 damage on the battlefield?
3, 4, 5, 6 damage. That's what I'm counting.
3 turn clock with a Forcible.
3 turn clock, but also 3 minutes.
Think they're going to have enough time here.
I think they'll be all right. All right, there is Luris.
Oh, Luris is also shut down by that cage, so that's just a 3/2.
Okay. Also doesn't have anything to bring back, so.
Yeah.
Vampiric Tutor off the top. That doesn't seem great. I mean, that tutor's just going to resolve, and then whatever you get, will counter that.
Yeah. And that'll take away another draw step as well.
Yep. And then what? We're having 6 damage in right now, and then next turn is 9, so that's 15. Not quite there. Get to probing. See the news.
Oh, there we go.
Wow. Wasted.
Wasteland and Strip Mine, they're good cards.
Yeah, what a combo. Iconic, if you will. So do we vamp, tutor, and then top? It's probably the correct order, right? Yep. Guess not. Well, now it can never vampiric tutor.
Must like the cards on the top of their deck.
Yeah. They've already tutored. But yeah, no, this vamp tutor, it does actually shorten the clock. Vampiric tutor, because you lose 2 life, correct?
Yeah, but 15 and 17 is still 3 turns on.
No, it's the same with Luris because we're attacking for 6
6
now.
and 9, yeah.
Yeah, 6 and 9.
Yeah, so Vampiric Tutor was definitely a liability there.
Yep. So nice no play here. The math checks out.
6 comes in, and we just need 2 more turns, which means Wizard needs to find very threatening cards 2 turns in a row.
In their Boros deck right now.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, it's over. Lorien revealed for the land, sure.
So we could spin the top after finding this land, draw a card, Ancestral ourselves, play Black Lotus.
Okay, go on. I'm interested.
We're going to need some obscene sequence like that to get back into this game.
Yeah. As it stands, this looks like this is going to be our top player advancing, which will be Dimir Control up against. That was the Oath player as well. So another rematch. Dimir Oath up top. We're not going to show you that. We've been watching a lot of that. We're going to watch Dimir Control and Initiative on the bottom.
Yeah, 2 Dimir Control decks in the top 4, really showing out.
Yeah.
You know, when we've been talking about how good Oath has been, Control deck looks like it might be advantaged.
Yeah, definitely might be. All right, so here is a big attack down to 2. There's a time vault for good measure. What can Wizard do besides just pack it in? Do some more topping. Still 2 minutes, plenty of time on the clock.
Just enough time.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it, Ross. And there we go.
Yeah, neither does Alael. Neither does Wizard.
Yeah. All right, so Alael A37 wins the match there, advances to the top 4. We are going to be taking a short break shortly, but we're going to clean house a little bit here. Now, getting into our next match, Ross, we are playing for the qualifications. We're going to be playing the winner of these next 2 matches, makes it to the finals, and that will qualify for the end of the year event. So not only are we playing for that $3,000 up top, there's nice prize increases as you go all the way up, but qualification to that event is awesome. You want to be playing in that tournament.
Yeah, that represents a huge amount of equity. And so this is a really important round for the 4 players remaining.
Totally agree. So before we go to our short break, reminder everyone, if you want to play in the Mana Trader series, you can use !Bash Bros in the chat. That will give you a code to save yourself 15% off your first 2 months loan subscription. That's the best code in the land. So if you want to ever pick up Mana Traders, which you should, it's incredible. I love it. You should be using this code. It'll save you the max amount of money possible. And Modern in the Open Series will be our tournament for next month. The date still to be determined on exactly when we're going to be doing it, but you don't have to do the qualifying season. You can just play this tournament for free, win $3,000, make it to the end of the year event, and get yourself a really nice loan program out of the deal. So make sure to check that out in the chat. We're going to take a short 5-minute break, and we'll be right back with the top 4 here on the Mana Trader series. Do not go anywhere. Okay, Ross will find you. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Mana Trader series. Corey Baumeister, Ross Money Merriam. We're going to be bringing you coverage here of the rest of the event, and things are starting to heat up. Now we're down to the top 4. We're down to the match that really matters. Making it to the finals, I think, is really what any player would be happy with in this tournament. Most of the time, it's just top 8. You know, if you make it to the top 8 of tournament, you feel good. But when there's that carrot on the edge of the string that you can advance to one more tournament, That's always the goal that I look for in a tournament. And that's the finals of the Mana Traders events to be able to qualify. So we're going to be taking a look we'll take a look at the bracket and see what we got left for the tournament. Then we're going to be checking out some deck lists. But Ross, any surprises as we get this bracket up?
Well, not too surprising to see the results that we had. A little bit disappointing for the Oath decks, only one of them advancing.
Yeah.
I think that we both thought that was the best performing deck yesterday, 3 in the top 8. But when you factor in that Wizard 2002 couldn't possibly win because they exiled the Swiss.
Exactly. That was already, we knew one was going to be gone. So now they win 50-50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which, it happens. Sometimes you lose a match, and that was fake news losing to Mood Madness.
Yeah.
The mono white initiative deck is definitely just capable of winning any match with its powerful, disruptive, explosive draws. So,
Yeah.
we didn't get to see exactly what happened in that one, but definitely a match that you could lose. And instead, it looks like the Demir control deck, really taken over with 2 in the top 4. Could be both
Yep.
players in the finals playing the same deck.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the top of the bracket, we have Demir Demir against Oath
Yeah, it's
once
Demir against Oath
again.
again, and then
Yeah.
bottom is Demir against the mono white.
The mono white initiative. Yep. So a rematch up top. That's going to be our backup match. We're going to start with Allies Forever and Mood Madness. Let's take a look at Moon Madness's list since that's the one we have not seen quite yet. And honestly, didn't do that well in the tournament. Most of the time, that's a welcome sight for a lot of people, I think. Initiative decks have been the bane of a lot of tournaments in general. But now is Mono White Initiative the good guy in this top 4, Ross? Or what is this deck doing?
I don't know if you could classify any vintage deck as a good guy.
They're all evil.
Nobody's tried to play fair here.
They're all just mad scientists.
Yeah. We're all trying to make 7 mana on turn 1 and obliterate any chance you have of possibly playing Magic. And, the initiative deck does a very good job of that. Early Thalias, early Archon of Emirias, Anointed Peacekeepers, and then you followed up with the value generating, initiative creatures. You got Solitude as a little bit of removal that can be helpful. And then, the one of Trinisphere, and then I think really importantly, those Wastelands and Strip Mines. That is going to be important in this matchup to, take mana away while you're taxing their mana with Peacekeeper and Thalia.
Okay, sounds good. And then the other deck we saw, Allies Forever, we just saw in action. Here's a quick glimpse of it, but sounds like our players are ready. We're jumping on into the semifinals here at the Mana Trader Series featuring Vintage. Let's go.
Big thing here, I think it's important for the mono white player to take game 1 because the Demir player has a lot of good removal in the sideboard, more fatal pushes, and what's the Canterbury one?
Yeah, sorry, the Rend, something Rend, right?
Yeah.
Where you destroy it and then you draw a card, a delayed trigger.
Yeah, Soul Rend.
Soul Rend, there we go.
The old classic Mirage staple.
Yeah. Bury target creature if it's white. That tells you how old this card is.
Yes, bury an old keyword that meant destroy it can't be regenerated.
Yep, exactly. So, all right, looking at the hands, I see Black Lotus up top. I see Ancient Tomb. I mean, is that just a turn 1 Thalia and Peacekeeper?
Yep.
Wait, and more, right? You just have 2 mana floating after that?
Yeah, you just don't even have to use the Ancient Tomb. And then if you find a white source, you can hardcast Solitude for more pressure if you need it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if Force and Negate. Now there's no blue card. Is this hand kept from Allies Forever? It's okay, right?
I mean, Orcish Bowmaster is very good against Thalia. So
yeah,
let's get that out of the way.
I like that.
But I think this Orcish Bowmaster is going to cost 4 mana.
Yeah, because you can't cast it on turn 1. Well, you can, right? Mox Pearl and
we get to be on
Misty?
the play. Okay.
Yeah.
Being on the play here for Allies Forever is incredibly important.
Quite big. So I wonder if we'll see, you can see Anointed Peacekeeper come down first. And then if Bowmaster gets flashed out, you could maybe think about Solituding instead of Thalia. I think we have enough mana to do it, which is outrageous. Here's a Mox Pearl, and you start with Mox Pearl and the Ancient Tomb, probably.
Yeah, this is 8 mana.
Yeah, you can Anointed Peacekeeper and Solitude on turn 1. What is going on? And this is honestly still one of their underwhelming draws. Like, you'd still rather have Peacekeeper, or I mean, a Dungeon Master, any initiative card, right?
Probably, but the ability to, with Peacekeeper, to look at the hand and play around this Bowmasters effectively is really nice. Normally, you need to run out Thalia as quickly as you can.
Yeah, because now you make the choice. Do you want to sack Lotus Petal for Thalia or to sack Black Lotus for Solitude? Vintage is crazy.
Told you we get down to business on turn 1.
Yes, we do. We do. Okay, so here is Orcish
And,
Bowmaster.
I'm inclined to Solitude.
Oh, I'm solituding 100%. Actually, not 100%.
Now,
Like, I think it's worth thinking about, but I'm still
yeah.
solituding here, I think.
And what do we name with the Peacekeeper?
Urza Saga, maybe? Just
Yeah,
prevent that? Because it does make the activated abilities more expensive as well.
yeah, that was my inclination as well.
Yeah. We'll see if Moon Madness has anything to say about it.
Just 6 power on turn 1, plus a removal spell, plus disruption.
Yep. Is that good?
I've got 1 card left. Go.
Vintage is wild. Absolutely wild. One land,
Storm
8
count
mana.
the storm count is 6, by the way.
Okay, good. Good. We need to know that.
in our non-storm deck.
So interesting. It might be Thalia here. I don't think it's terrible. Like, you're going to have to crack that Black Lotus for Solitude anyways.
Did name Urza Saga, so.
Okay. We got that right. Another Orcish Bowmaster is pretty punishing.
Ugh.
Wow. Hello, nice Thalia.
That is a beating.
Yeah. And that would have just been good regardless, you know? Like, that was going to do some stuff.
And we can play the Manifold Key. Interesting to play the Saga because you can't activate it next turn.
Correct. Yeah, I would rather play Island there. Okay, perfect information, I believe, is known from that Peacekeeper. And here we go. We got an attack. I like this attack because Solitude does back it up quite nicely. All right.
I guess that, yeah, they don't know about the Solitude, so.
Touche. Solitude on. I mean, there's no way to have a better block for it. So I think I still like this block, to be honest.
Yeah.
Here is Solitude, and you got 2 3-power creatures, and your opponent has no way to block and trade up to these creatures. So we might see a next turn of Purchase Lurrus.
They're wisely targeting the Bowmaster with the Solitude. Not only does
Less
that
life.
make you gain 1 fewer life, it also keeps the Bowmaster out of the graveyard for later Lurrus.
Touche. Correct in many axes.
Now we've got a counterspell, but the threats are already on the battlefield. So,
yeah.
And this is the problem for the control deck in game 1. Not enough removal, too many counterspells. So if you ever start falling behind, it's just so hard to catch back up.
Now, that being said, Lurrus here will be fine. Like, getting Lurrus into play, bringing back, what, Black Lotus? Is that a bauble? Who knows? Okay, bring back a bauble. That's great. And you can do the key trick of give it unblockable, attack through this Peacekeeper, and at least you're offsetting half the damage you're taking. But this is not a great plan. Here comes Archon of Myria, aka Force of Will target number 1.
Is that good enough to force? Maybe you need to save that for one of the initiative creatures. But yeah,
I think you have to, because if you take 6 here, all right, not taking 6, having your Lurrus coming into play tapped, it's going to be interesting. I can see a case for it either way, but I think you're just too far behind on the battlefield. Get rid of it. Hope that you can draw some stuff with Lurrus.
Well, Lurrus is going to be nice with the Bowmaster. We could actually, well, there's Lotus for it anyway, but we could have found like Mox Jet to recast Bowmaster here after the Lurrus.
Okay.
Now we can do that with Lotus, so we could just find a Mishra's Bauble.
I actually think Allies Forever is wildly ahead here. Like, if you can get another Black Source so you can Bowmaster, I like Mox Jet here. I think that's totally reasonable. Yeah. And you just bring back Bowmaster and then chump block with it every single turn. And not only that, you can block with Bowmaster and the 1/1 Orc army to Solitude. So the Peacekeeper is the only creature that can get in right now.
You just trade for the Solitude and then start recasting at every turn.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Trade for the Solitude with the first Bowmaster, plus the Orc army. Then you replay, start chumping the Peacekeeper with the Bowmaster, and you're growing your army every turn.
Now, that being said, you can stack the damage where you deal all the damage to the Orc army, so you can stop that from doing that, but it's not necessarily a good play.
Yeah. Interesting finding
Yeah,
Soul
speaking
Ring.
of an interesting play, I didn't love Soul Ring here because, all right, Black Lotus gets fired off so you can bring back Orcish Baumeister.
Yeah, this
I think I would have rather had a Bobble there. You have enough mana, I feel. But
yeah,
unblockable, this does set up unblockable thing. Oh, hello, game's probably over.
sounds pretty good. And
It's
now we can attack with pro creatures.
oh
So we
my.
can effectively attack. Now
Into the Undercity.
this is now a second white source, so that top deck Solitudes will answer the Luris.
Yep.
Excellent, excellent draw. Maybe the best in the deck.
Best possible, I think. Second best, the other initiative creature. Oh, and there it is. I believe White Plume got revealed. Now, does that put that on the top, or where does that get revealed to?
uh, it explores, so you have the option
Okay.
of putting it in the graveyard or putting it on the bottom.
So, got to deal with another one next turn. Here's a Bobble. You already know what's on top. Might as well bobble yourself this time to see what you're drawing.
Yeah, that was a good draw. Wow, that Seasoned Dungeoneer is doing work.
Initiative is just so powerful. Yep, here we go. Bobble yourself, see what you're going to draw. And I think it's time to have Luris be unblockable. All right, so even if Luris gets unblockable, that staves off 3 damage. For next turn, goes up to 15. You trade life totals here. And you gain a little bit of this damage back, but next turn, you can crunch in for a ton of damage. The Undercity next turn can put 2 counters on something, or you can scry. Probably not going to see that, right?
Yeah, the 2 counters is pretty valuable.
Okay, so taking the initiative here is also valuable.
Okay, so now we get another land. Now we
But when you play the initiative creature off the top, you're going to get it back. Then you're going to get the counters. And Force of Will not able to be cast. Blue card Force of Will would have been a lot cooler. Because now here we go. Take the initiative back. Make some creatures unblockable. Now, that being said, Allies Forever doing this whole key unblockable Luris trick, putting 2 more counters on Luris, that's becoming a real threat too.
Yeah. So now we're sort of dueling initiatives, trying to see who can, do it better.
Yeah. So didn't go to give Solitude protection. So there is a clean block on Solitude. I think you have to take that opportunity and then just bring back Bowmaster. It'll be interesting if the Solitude does get double blocked, if we see all the damage on the Orc army or not, you know?
Yeah, just to keep the Bowmaster out of the graveyard.
Yeah.
But now that they have the Bauble, maybe you just want to tax their choices.
Yeah. Could easily see that. Yeah. Or if it's only this block, yeah, to force the action. So puts the ball in Mood Madness's court.
This is 8 damage coming across.
And you know what didn't happen? We didn't gain the initiative before we attacked. I guess because you take it back here. Okay, this makes more sense. You take the initiative back, you go into the next city of the Undercity, and then you can White Plume Adventurer. Is that correct? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go to the third one, the Trap.
Counters once again going on the Peacekeeper. So we're just setting up a really big threat to make pro creatures.
I mean, this is also take 5.
Yep.
The
Little
initiative
Brubeck.
is silly.
Lava Axew.
Okay, no big deal.
Now, don't see how we're surviving this turn.
Yeah.
I agree. A couple turns ago, the Luris looked like it was stabilizing the entire battlefield, and then we drew a single initiative creature.
And then we drew another initiative creature. And now the game, it ends. Yeah, that's just game, right?
GG.
A GG. All right, and this looks like it's going to be Moon Madness, 1 game away from locking up spot at our end of the year tournament.
There it is. The concession drawn. And like I said, I think it's important for Mono White to take game one. The Demir deck is going to improve a lot after sideboard. You see those removal spells going to be coming in. Some of the counter spells likely coming out. Fluster Storm, Spell Pierce, Mental Misstep, all pretty weak in this matchup.
Yeah, and just try to kill creatures, right? Kill as many creatures as
Yep.
possible.
We got 4 removal spells and a Tabernacle that can come in.
Ooh, yeah, Tabernacle's got to be a pain, especially when you use all this fast mana. So that being said, this game did begin with Moon Madness having 8 mana on turn 1 and casting, you know, Peacekeeper plus Thalia, could have cast Solitude. And it all came down to kind of running out of gas, and this game looked like it was going to be heading Demir Control's way. And then, oh, what do you know? Some initiative cards. GG.
And then we went into a dungeon.
A dark, scary dungeon.
So, yeah, I don't see much else that's going to be coming in. I was thinking about Pithing Needle, but there's no Urza Sagas on the other side. So,
Yeah.
like, Pithing Needle, they're wastelands because they're probably trying to wasteland you more than you are them.
Yeah. So now one thing that is interesting, Ross. Do you believe in Thalia? Thalia is supposed to be for these kind of matchups, but with Bowmaster, the dynamic changes, you know?
Yeah, can we bring up the Mono White deck? We'll see if they've got something to that
Yeah.
could be better. Usually these decks don't sideboard all that much. I mean, maybe you want more removal to deal with Bowmaster.
Or Lorien to deal with some Moxes here and there. Like those are okay, but then when you lures them back, it feels bad. Do you bring in No Rod?
I don't think so. There's not a ton of artifact mana.
Yeah, it's not like you. That's for PO decks, right? And
PO decks and workshop
shops,
decks, and
yeah.
decks are really going hard on artifact mana. This deck does have 4 baubles too, though, so maybe the
Yeah.
baubles plus the artifact mana is enough for Null Rod to be an effective piece of disruption.
I could see it. One thing we did see is Moon Madness has 61 cards in their deck. Couldn't decide. There we go. That's the next level. Sideboard cards in, just don't bring them out. There is no Rod in the opening hand, so that answers that. How about the rest of the hand? It looks like it has a average converted mana cost of 6.
It's just an average converted mana cost of 4.7.
Yeah, pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Only the 1 mana, so definitely had to go back.
All right, this hand is the opposite. All mana, no action.
Yeah.
Do you have to send that to 5?
I think so, because the one piece of action you kind of have is the Null Rod, but you can't really play it because you're relying on Chrome Locks and Soul Ring in this hand.
Vintage is so silly. Yeah, we'll see. How about the bottom hand? Let's see. We got Mental Misstep,
Mental
Black
Misstep stayed in.
Lotus.
I'm a little surprised that the Misstep stayed in.
Soul Ring.
I think Soul Ring is the only one. It's the only one drop in the main deck.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Allies Forever does have turn 1 recall at home, right?
Yeah. Just the whole Lotus Soul Ring on Currency Lorien reveal.
We have Ancestral Recall at home, okay? Come on, we don't need another one. All right, that hand was kept.
Yeah, I mean, Cavern of Souls is quite good in the matchup, so maybe they're just relying on drawing some threats off the top of their deck.
And do you just turn 1, draw some cards? I think you have to, right?
I don't know what else you're doing. Like, this is what your hand is, but I guess they disagree.
I guess they must have found a good card on top. It's not it. I guess this is just saying I need to have a force target here no matter what in case you go turn 1 initiative creature. As it stands, though, this Null Rod is actually going to just completely wreck Allies Forever, you would think, right?
Yeah.
Up against a deck that can possibly Null Rod you, I'm Black Lotusing at the earliest opportunity every time. You know, like, if you get that shut down in a blue-black deck where you have absolutely no way to remove it, it just feels so bad.
Yeah, just run out your Lotus, be able to play the Null Rod after that. And if the Null Rod resolves, you can just wasteland their Underground Sea. That leaves them on no mana.
And honestly, I think this force is probably going to have to be pointed at Null Rod. And then you can have Lurrus next turn. I mean, that's still fine. It's still a good play.
Yeah, I guess that's why they were saving the Lotus to make sure they have Forcible and they're just setting up Lurrus next turn.
Yeah. And that's fine. I guess you can kind of have your cake and eat it too that way. Now, the one thing, if you Lauren revealed into a blue card and then you could force away that, it looks a little bit better maybe. But yeah, this is definitely defensible and makes sense. Did you get Wasteland now as well? I like the old cast Soul Ring and then No Rod, not using the mana from No Rod.
Pretty big tip that they're not, yeah, don't need the two colorless.
Yep. So here is the forest, and we're probably going to see the Wasteland. Now, the Wasteland actually doesn't stop Lurrus. So all of a sudden, both players are out of all resources, and it's turn one.
Yeah, but the Lurrus is such a huge deal here. There's no threats in
Yeah.
hand for the mono white player. There's just really the Lurrus is threatening to run away with the game very quickly.
All right.
There's a strip mine, which is going to be excellent because you've got plenty of mana going on with Lurrus Lotus. So
And now you just get bobble stuff going. So going to be a big draw to see if Moon Madness can draw something like Solitude. So all right, after looking over this a little bit more, I really liked Allies Forever's play.
yeah, it looked like Lure Revealed was the only thing they could do, but
Yeah.
you always have the Lurrus.
You always have Lurrus, and I mean, I did see that as well, but it just seemed like you really wanted to draw cards first. But I do like the just always protect Lurrus. It's your Nightmare Kitty.
Jesus.
Alrighty.
With 4 lands in hand, that game is probably not going to
All
go very
right.
well.
Allies Forever. We apologize. You're smart. We're dumb. You're attractive. We're not that good looking.
Oh, that's a lie.
Okay.
Don't just lie to the people.
All right, fine. You're not that good looking.
Okay, here is the sideboard for Moon Madness, and we definitely saw the Null Rods come in. I could see Lauren coming in, especially because Lauren also hits opposing Urza Sagas.
Yep. Yeah, I like Lauren. I almost like that card in the
Yeah.
main. You know, like Thalia seems a lot worse these days. I would almost like see Lauren in that spot.
We've seen some list with Lauren or two in the main deck. Madness deciding to put them all in the sideboard. The real question for me is how much removal do you want in your deck? If Bowmaster is a problem, you sometimes need to deal with constructs. Is Solitude enough? Do you want some number of Swords to Plowshares? You don't want to be too reactive from the initiative side of this matchup.
Yep.
You are the beatdown. You want to be threat dense. If you're too reactive, that's playing into the opposing game plan, just making a bunch of trades. They're just going to beat you with card advantage at that point.
Fair enough. All right, getting into game number 3. Winner of this game advances to the final and has the chance to play for $3,000 up top.
It's a lot easier to count to than the 15 yesterday.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, so going to be on the play up top. I see a Dungeoner. I see fast mana.
This is turn 1 Dungeoner. Chrome Mox, Cavern Souls, Lotus Petal. Exile 1 Dungeoneer and Solitude. Play the other one.
Okay, but is it going to work?
I mean,
with Cavern, it will, right?
Yeah, unless they counter one of the pieces of fast mana. So I would definitely, lead on Petal. I wouldn't play Cavern first.
I would lean on Mox, right? But you have 2 Mox. Oh yeah, this is just all in. I didn't see double Mox. Yeah, that's brutal.
This is use my entire hand. I'll still have 3 mana left over.
Yeah,
this is reasonable, and I'm getting a land when I take the initiative, so I'll have 4 mana next turn. So all my top decks are live essentially. Or
oh my
almost
god,
all of them.
Gross! They're gonna be like, as long as you don't have Cavern Dungeoner.
Yeah, and that Mindbreak Trap just isn't doing anything.
What is going on?
But they do have the Soul Rend in hand.
Okay.
So this Dungeoneer is going to die in 2 turns. Oh no, it's Exile. Yeah, Mindbreak Trap does work through the Cavern.
Get him a body bag!
Mindbreak Trap isn't countered to exile any number of spells. And yeah, that's an all-in that got soundly answered.
Oh my god, this game is over. Give Allies Forever the trophy. We're done here. That was the best Mindbreak Trap I've ever seen.
A little awkward to play the island here for Allies. Now they can't go Wasteland your Cavern plus Bowmaster.
Yeah,
I think they're realizing it that they, got a little antsy,
overzealous there.
Yeah, so,
but can buy Lurrus, still fine. Everything's always fine when you can buy Lurrus. Oh my god, Ross. What a beating. Okay, that was a pretty good draw, but I wouldn't have played it, right? In case there's another Wasteland?
Yeah. There's another Mindbreak Trap that can be hardcast, so we can just hold up Bowmaster Trap. Yeah. We've got the Soul Rend. Chance of the NX looks embarrassing.
As it usually does whenever you draw it. Ross, this was a beating.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the Mindbreak Traps coming in, but against a deck with a bunch of Lotus Petals and Chrome Moxen,
yeah,
it worked as well as I've ever seen Mindberg Trap work.
Allies Forever, some big brain moves, and then a big brain draw off the top here. You can go Bobble, Lurus, Bobble.
They are running away with this game.
I mean, it's hard to say a game's over on turn one before you even play your first land, but this game was over before Allies played their first
Yeah.
land, you know?
Yeah, it was. I've got a really good draw, turn one Dungeoneer, through most counter spells. But
Yes.
this is why you see Mindbreak Trap as a very common sideboard card in Vintage.
Wow, that was awesome. Okay, Lorraine revealed and Bobble knocks off the top. This might just be GG.
Yeah, well, now Solitude is a live draw. Solitude would be very good.
Okay.
At this point, if
You just leave
you're
up mana,
allies,
right?
yeah, you just leave up the Mindbreak Trap the entire time. This is 5 damage a turn.
Oh, for sure
Yeah,
now.
now you got the Bowmaster too.
Bobble from the yard, play a bobble, draw 2 cards on your turn, have Mindbreak Trap to hardcast.
I think I'd even cycle the Lorien reveal. You don't need a 5 mana draw 3, just get more mana.
Hey, you already have 0 mana draw 3s with your double bobble you're playing every turn.
Yeah, and then
I like not being too proactive with the Bowmaster. Like this game is over as long as you don't get overzealous. And Allies Forever already made that. I wouldn't even say one minor misstep with playing that land, but bought the Lurist anyways, so it was all good. But just want to make sure, slow down and make sure to end this game the right way. Decides to keep Lorien revealed around, which is defensible as well, especially when you get Soul Ring off the top. Okay, White Plume. Gonna get trapped. You've activated my trap card.
This gets trapped, then we can draw Solitude.
So, all this being said, whatever they can draw, Allies Forever is. Are we misreading Mind Break Trap again?
I guess they don't think Adventure is good enough. Maybe gonna go for a Soul Rend on it.
Okay. Yeah, totally reasonable to pick your. Oh, actually, this is way better.
Yeah.
Because they get the initiative now. Now you get to take the initiative back.
Yeah.
So you're just helping out. Yeah, okay. I like this.
And the 2 counters next turn will be lethal. We've got an attack for 5, take the initiative.
Yep. No, because then.
You venture when you take it, and then you'll venture on their next upkeep.
Oh, yep. You're right. You're right. You're right. And you can't take it with Bowmaster. I guess that doesn't matter. Okay, and there's a Wasteland for another land. I mean, yeah, this is just absolutely over.
We'll be able to probe, see the Chancellor in hand. That is largely irrelevant. There is, I guess, 6 mana in play, so a land can cast a Chancellor, but you have Mindbreak Trap for that.
Yeah. Wow. Dimir Control looking great. We'll see if it's a Dimir Control mirror match or if it's going to be Oath against Dimir in the finals.
Yeah, this is really, obviously this game is just the story of Mindbreak Trap, but Lurus has been incredible, just so incredible. And I shouldn't be surprised by that.
Yeah.
I know that at this point, none of us should be surprised.
Honestly, look at the 2 Chrome Moxes. You see a Dungeoneer under and a Solitude. So if there was 1 Chrome Mox and just a Mox, this is a different game because that other season Dungeoneer probably would have resolved. You know, so it was a bit of an awkward draw from Moon Madness. Okay, so that is a caverned out creature. Does that do anything?
The Mindbreak Trap gets around the cavern like we saw in turn 1.
God.
Just like, how many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Cavern of Souls not looking too impressive here, and that's going to be GG.
Yeah, don't even need the initiative to get up to lethal because the Ancient Tomb did 2 damage, so.
All right.
Allies Forever.
Really impressive. So we're going to come back to the booth. Then we're going to take a short 3-minute break as we get our other semifinal all queued up to go. And then we're going to watch that other one and then jump right into the finals. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are just about to jump into our other semifinal match here. Looks like they are still in. Oh, that looks like game 1 if I've ever seen one.
Jesus.
Okay, so we'll unpack this a bit. I believe the hand on the bottom is not correct.
Yeah, there's only 1 card in that hand.
Yep.
But hand up top looks accurate, and, well, I don't know if the hands matter at this point.
I don't think they do. So as long as this is indeed game 1, it looks like we're going to be heading to sideboard with our Dimir control deck on the play. How many times you want to activate this Oath?
Probably not all three with 16 cards in library.
Probably zero, right?
Yeah, zero would be my inclination.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so zero oath activations being sent in. Atrax is going to come in, do some damage. Now, Oko can do some trading as well. All right, here comes Atraxa.
And just one more attack will be lethal.
Now, I guess key time vault isn't going to be enough, even with the force, right? Yeah, not enough mana. And here we go. Just sacrifice Bolas' Citadel, sacrifice 10 things. Kaploom. All right, and honestly, our bottom player might be playing a little bit for the clock here because if this is indeed game one, 9 minutes, not a ton if we go two deep games after this,
Yeah, I said it might be LL just needs to win one game.
Yeah.
And can take this one to time.
All right, so let's take a look at the Oath side or the Oath deck here. We saw a lot of this Demir control deck. Let's take a look at Oath and what you kind of sideboard in against these Demir control decks.
Well, looking at the sideboard, I wonder. Can't imagine Sarah's Emissary is better than Atraxa. I think you need the card advantage.
Yeah, I
Um,
bet that's just for um initiative, right?
yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably for initiative.
Just say creatures. How do they ever beat you?
Yeah, they have some swords in the sideboard, but that's
Yeah.
it. I like the Force Negation.
Okay.
I think that might be it.
Okay. Small amount of sideboarding. And we have seen dismembers come in more often than we thought to deal with Bowmasters. But this isn't really a deck that draws a lot of cards, right? It draws like 8 cards with Atraxa, but it doesn't actually draw them.
Yeah, it gets
Yeah.
around Bowmaster, and so you sort of actively want them to have creatures to
Yeah.
turn on your oaths. Like Oath of Druids is a sort of creature removal because it punishes you for having creatures on the battlefield.
That's so weird, but so true. All right, so how does this hand look?
I mean, we got the Oath. We don't have Forbidden Orchard to give them a creature. We have a Force of Will, which is nice. Don't have Black Source for DT. It's certainly not an explosive hand, but this is probably the matchup where you least need to be explosive.
I would think so, yep. And our bottom hand, this is at least one mulligan. That was a land heavy hand with the Orcish Baumeister in there. And that's about it. Now at least we got some sagas. We have Mental Mista. We have some Brainstorm. We have a Brainstorm, excuse me.
Players have 2 restricted cards in their hand.
It's gotta be good, right?
Might be below average.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so looks like we kept that 6. And here we go, we're off.
Really, if Usang can just find a Forbidden Orchard, this game could end very quickly because they can protect their oath with a Force of Will.
Yeah.
And it's just hard for the control deck to even apply a lot of pressure in this matchup.
Really is. Like you really just need the most counter spells, and then eventually these decks draw out of it. I really got to put the advantage to these oath decks, but that's kind of not how it's been playing out.
Yeah.
But hey, there's a recall.
That is very nice.
And
Urza
there's
Saga is also quite good because you make the first construct on the end step, and they think, "Oh, I'll get to Oath next turn,"
Yeah.
and then you untap, make another one, and tutor for Grafter's Cage.
So this is nice, right? You can just force this and get rid of Mental Misstep.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good timing on the Ancestral. Playing it on the
Yeah.
upkeep, so the Force of Negation is legitimate protection.
Well, it was drawn off the bobble as well, but we'll still give him credit.
Yeah. Gotta play
Forbidden Orchard.
Yeah, but now there's no Force of Will to protect it, and there is Force of Will in ALL's hand.
But you do have 2 oaths, so like that was still a phenomenal draw.
Taxian probe, so we're gonna know what's up.
All right, so now you got to deal with both oaths. That's probably not the best news for Alela.
Yeah, because you can Saga this turn, but then Oath comes down next turn. You force your Saga goes to 2. Then they play Oath, and then you find Cage. So this actually works out just fine.
Okay.
Saga races the second Oath, 4 stops the first one.
Okay, so you have Saga now plus Mox and Soul Ring, so you're generating a ton of mana here. You can go Soul Ring Jet. You're 1 short of casting Lorien Revealed, but you can start with a Brainstorm and worst case buy Luris, which is pretty good. But I'm with you. I want to get Saga down. I want to get that hate card going.
Now, Demonic Tutor can find Beseiju to answer
Yeah.
Saga or Cage if it's too late to
Yeah.
get the
Yep.
Saga.
Yep. Yep. And you can do that with the oath trigger on the stack, right? You can Beseiju?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as they have more creatures, the Oath Trigger will go in the stack. You
Okay.
can hold priority and Beseiju a Cage.
Okay.
So that
Now that being said, demonic tutor cannot be cast in response to the oath trigger, being a sorcerer.
yeah, so you're gonna have to set that up. I honestly think that Usunk really wants to draw a Mox so
Yeah.
that they can play a 2-drop next turn and then have 4 mana the following turn,
Sure,
play
sure.
2 things.
All right, brainstorm. There's the cards to work with. We're gonna put 2 of those back. Can shuffle them away with Lorien revealed. So if you really don't want something of those, you can get rid of them. But honestly, those cards look pretty good.
Yeah, you got plenty of cards in the graveyard to delve for that dig through time. If anything, the Lorien reveals look like the worst cards in the hand, but
Yeah.
you want to keep at least one of them around to pitch to that forest. I imagine the Wasteland goes back. We don't need that just yet. Definitely want to play Saga as the land for this turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a tough one. There's no real clear thing that I can see of what you want to put back and
Huh.
exactly what you want to do here, because you do probably want to go Wasteland, Soul Ring, Jet, Bylurus. I think that's the one thing that looks pretty good, at least being mana efficient for this turn. But I
Yep.
could also see just like, you know, Mox Jet, Soul Ring, Cycle Lorien revealed to shuffle away some things.
I like the buy Luris plan. I think it's so important to get Luris online. We've seen the power of that so far
Yeah.
through the quarterfinals.
Yeah, vintage players were just licking their chops when they saw that Nightmare Kitty printed. They're like, my God. Especially because the companion tax wasn't on there yet, where you could just go Black Lotus, play it, play Black Lotus, and then have the Black Lotus for your other spells. Glad that got fixed real quick, to be honest. Like,
That was not okay.
that was not okay at all. All right, Brainstorm, put some stuff back.
Ooh,
Here's
put all
Saga.
the artifact, or not all the artifact mana, put Mox Wasteland back.
Okay, so here's Soul Ring. That leads me to believe we're gonna cycle Lorien revealed,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, so we've got a second blue source for next turn, and enough mana to make a construct plus a dig, and then we have force pitch the other Lorien revealed. Yeah,
Okay.
so this works all very well.
Pretty crafted. Get a little spirit here for your troubles.
Land off the top for Usunk, not going to be particularly good. Like I said, they really need a piece of acceleration so that they can start double spelling.
Yeah, as it stands, this next oath is just gonna look great, right?
Well, we find Cage before it'll trigger.
Oh, sure, sure,
That's
sure.
that's the
Yep.
problem.
Okay. Of course. Yep.
But the demonic tutor can find the answer. It's just
Yeah.
how long does that take? This dig through time is going to be able to find something. Okay, there's a spell
Oh,
pierce.
baby.
That's pretty good.
That's incredible. So now the question is, do you even try to mess around with dig through time? I'm making a construct. I'm spell piercing. If I can't spell pierce a target, then I'm dig through timing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Everything is instant speed, so we just get to attack for one and say go.
Yeah.
Just react to what your opponent does. If they do nothing, we can dig plus Saga.
Yep. Oh, okay. That's a wrinkle.
So now if we oath, it gets pierced. We Flusterstorm. That's for 3. They can pay the 3.
Oh. Yeah, probably won't even fire it off, huh? Maybe you have to. No, I mean, you definitely don't want to fire it off if they can just pay. It's, do you want a Flusterstorm so you can kill a construct? Your Flusterstorm is a destroyed target construct here, which
And
may be reasonable.
because you could go demonic tutor for another oath next turn and keep going for it. Then you have to hope this dig through time doesn't find an answer.
Or Cage doesn't just get put into
Yeah,
play.
and then there's also the Cage. So yeah, it looks like Flusterstorm is going to be in removal spell mode.
Yeah. Wow, Flusterstorm. Really good when it says destroyed target construct or counter target spell, I guess, huh?
And
Pay
yeah,
one.
this game that Usunk had a solid hand, but ALL has been able to find the right answers in time and had a little bit of fast mana to get ahead there.
Yeah.
Usunk really needed some fast mana of their own, and I think they might have been able to find a turn to overload these counter spells and push through one of these Oath of Druids.
Yeah, it just looked really clunky, this draw,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, they just played one land a turn and then cast their spells on curve. This is vintage.
Yeah, do they know what format we're
That is
playing?
not Magic as Garfield intended.
So one thing that we can do here with chapter 3 trigger on the stack, you could dig first, see what you get.
Is that the same? Is that the same Mox Jet that we just put on top last turn and then shuffled?
Yes, I believe it was.
I think it was a
Moto
Mox.
bug.
Yeah.
Just kidding. There's no real confirmed moto bug. But it feels like it whenever it's negative, whenever it's something negative to me personally when I draw, you know?
Toe in the company line.
There we go.
Those fat cats don't want you to know.
Yeah. Dun dun dun. All right, so here we go. We have dig through time going. Probably here. Yeah, looks like we are exiling cards in the yard. You got to be a little conscious here because you do want to leave stuff for Lurrus. So here is dig. Let's see what kind of goodies we get.
Really just want to find a force and a blue card.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great.
You've got your threats lined up. These couple of spirit tokens. You're making a construct that is going to be a 4/4 because you've already got one artifact. You have Mox in hand, and you'll tutor for the cage.
Yep.
You've got Oath locked up with cage. Maybe you end up forcing the demonic tutor because it can find Beseiju.
Yeah. Yeah. All signs point to we're going to be heading to game 3.
Yeah, things looking really good.
Yeah, this was a well navigated game from Alayla.
Yeah, and especially that brainstorm. That was a very tough brainstorm that
It
they
was.
had. And I think you could have, done a lot of different things with it. We were talking about making plays to set up Lurrus.
Yep.
And they used their mana beautifully.
Agreed.
They set up every single sequence. And then of course the spell pierce was also quite good. So.
And I mean, to be fair, like that is one of the tougher things in Legacy. These kind of older formats, it definitely values the person. Wow, okay, we're just seeing that clock. But I'm saying all the people who brainstorm correctly usually gives them a big advantage.
Yeah.
And Alayla, all of a sudden, way lower on time. It was kind of, we were worrying about the Oath player, but there's been a lot more game actions taken this game from Alayla.
Yeah, definitely a lot more game actions, and they have to win a third game, so that's going to be tough. And they found the force, but just a wasteland with it, no blue card. Wasteland is solid though.
Yeah, wasteland for probably still just tropical. I guess they're the exact same. Well, you already have the creature, so you might as well leave them with the orchard. Maybe that can change a clock here and there.
Well, you don't know about the underground sea, so the orchard represents their only black source here.
Okay,
so maybe it's about cutting them off of black mana.
Yep, I like that. And now you have force negation with the Black Lotus. So I mean, GG.
Okay, yeah, Lotus also good. More news at 11.
More news at 11. Black Lotus, good and vintage. Stick around. How about a 7 drop off the top?
Well, that makes show and tell and flash good draws.
Yeah.
It turns on some things.
I think you probably force this because what if they get a creature? I mean, I don't know if that's really relevant, but I like it. Just get rid of it.
I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I don't want to question it. And now we can go buy Lurrus and play it if we get a mana source. And you can bring back a bauble, draw a card, force the issue.
That's also going to make this a 7-point attack, and you have lethal next turn.
Yeah, you play the bauble, then attack, then sack the bauble.
Okay, so the shields are down. We've used all of our counter spells at this point. Can Usunk find Oath of Druids isn't going to be good enough. That's too slow. They really need to find show and tell.
Yep.
And that would be an incredible sequence of 2 draws that tracks it into show and tell.
Oh, God.
At the very last minute.
I don't even know if it would be enough. Probably. Oh, yeah, it'd be enough. God, we got to draw on this? Is it show and tell? Or are we heading to the next game? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Show and tell off the top. And the Flusterstorm was drawn. So if Lurrus got the bauble, can you believe it?
This is ridiculous.
No way.
Okay, here's the 10 cards revealed. I see Ancestral Recall. That's pretty good. I see some Moxen.
You have a Force of Will.
We get Forbidden Orchard, so we'll have a land.
It doesn't matter. You can get Force of Will and another blue card, right? Is there any blue sorcery? Yeah.
Show and tell.
You get that. So every draw is kind of shut off. Now, that being said, there is a Flusterstorm. So if we can draw a removal spell to clear Atraxa, removal spell plus Flusterstorm will still win this game for Alayla, but all of a sudden, Alayla's back is up against the wall.
Uh, I mean, I said it when we started the show. One of the things about Vintage, you're just never out of it. Okay, Probe also a sorcery, so
Okay,
they take
yeah.
Probe alongside the Forcible.
No way.
There's Urza Saga. So Urza Saga can find manifold keys so you can attack through the Atraxa, but that's too slow. They're gonna
They're
gain
going
a
to
bunch of
gain
life.
14.
Yeah.
Ross, what did we just see?
Well, we saw Vintage. Vintage.
Oh my God. The jaws of defeat here, about to head to game number 3. And honestly, game number 3, I think even for Alayla with this little amount of time was going to be rough. But now all of a sudden you have to somehow scrap this game together. And now game 3 is near impossible to close in the right amount of time.
You know, we've been calling cards all weekend off the top,
Yeah.
whether it's Wasteland or Ancestral into
It's
three
been like
crazies.
7 Wastelands so far,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And then now we called Show and Tell Atraxa.
Unbelievable.
I've got to start to learn to harness these powers.
AK, let's go pick some winning lottery numbers on after this, buddy.
Okay, probe to see if the coast is clear. Ooh, well now we're. I mean, a second trigger on the Bowmaster isn't particularly relevant.
Wow.
Are we just hardcasting the Force on this?
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah. Especially with Luris, you can just recast it from the graveyard.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to counter that. And, I mean, some of the weird scenarios, if you had an army of 1/1s and your opponent's at a lower life, you can, like, Bowmaster the 1/1 that gets blocked by Atraxa and kind of do some tricks there. But that's not how this game is going to be played out anymore. Alayla had a W ripped out of their hands with top deck Atraxa into show and tell, the only things that would have made this game possible.
Yeah, just a straight back-to-back 4-outer to hit both. It's something like
oh my God.
That's something like a 1%er because there's a little over 40 cards in their deck.
Yeah.
It's slightly under 1%.
Vintage Magic is awesome. The Mana Trader series is great. This has just been an absolute delight to watch such a ridiculous comeback.
I can't remember a tournament I've seen so many
huge swings.
Yeah. We have called
Totally
so
agree.
many games as being over in one side, and then 4 turns later, we're just like, well, it's over, but not the way we thought.
Call an ambulance, but not for me. Yeah, maybe, Ross, I might just put it out there. Maybe we're just bad. Maybe we're not seeing the things correctly. I mean, I'm sure Twitch chat would agree with us.
That's been a trend, in Magic over the last 5 or 10 years. It's easier to get back into a game because there's really powerful swingy cards, but Vintage just pushes it to a way different level than any other format. You've got to be wary of things like Vault Key that can steal games out of nowhere, especially with Saga finding the key. Traxxas entering the battlefield and drawing 5 good cards. And
so I'm going to interrupt you here. Is there any spot where these constructs becoming larger than 7/7s or just 7/7s, does that do enough here to overpower this Atraxa? Because I believe they can get to 8/8s, right? You can get 3 more artifacts.
So you can just take an attack now. You've gained so much life.
But can you take 2 plus all the other attacks?
Well, if they attack with other things, you block one of the other things with the Atraxa, and now you're gaining 7 more life.
But what if Bowmaster deals with that blocker and you're not gaining the life? I mean, there may be some scenario where an absurd attack here and a Bowmaster to clear things off could do something. So let's stay tuned for this, but obviously it looks really grim. Does Urza Saga find Modern Breach's premier bounce spell, Aether Spellbomb here?
I think the most you can force through is 18. I guess plus the Bowmaster trigger 19. Because if you and now there's Bowmastering now, so
what about Soul Render? Is that the card the destroy target white creature in the board? What if we top deck that?
That'd be pretty good.
Okay, is that our out?
Yeah, Soul Rend only this is LL
Yeah,
only one in the sideboard for them.
Okay. Any other draws that have any impact?
If you make 7/7s and draw Time Walk, then you can force a trade.
Okay, or what if you draw Time Twister with 2 Bowmasters in play?
Now yeah, that'll be good too. Okay, so there's still several outs. This is how it
Wow. Okay, it was Force of Will, so it's not there.
First of all, not good enough.
I
I
don't
don't.
think so.
Oh, what about manifold key? And we can make like the Luris unblockable, and then get
It's
in
not
with the two
enough.
seven
That
sevens.
looks like Bobble to try to find a removal spell on your opponent's turn.
Okay, play ball from the graveyard. Now we have 8/8s.
Okay, is this an attack for everything? Okay. Attack all. Luris probably gets blocked here.
Yeah, Luris gets blocked. We gain 7, so that negates the 4/1/1s and the Orc Army, which is a 3/3. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, just the construct
So
damage is
take
coming through.
16.
4.
And then we knock the top of the deck with those two baubles to try to find one of our two removal spells. Now,
Oh, we could also find Ancestral the opponent, and deal them 6.
oh,
The old Ancestral Recall Lava Act.
was Recall the first card cast? I feel like
Was
that's
it?
the maybe. Let's
Yeah.
look at Alayla's graveyard. Is that a recall?
Okay. So
Oh,
that one's not an out. We could. There's one copy of Dress Down in the deck. We could Dress Down and then
no,
block.
you can't
Oh
block
no, because
because
of the
Dress Down kills it. I was thinking that too.
yeah. So maybe we should have left back one creature.
One creature, if it was even brought in or left in, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem very good. Okay, there's some baubles. What's on top of the deck? 50 seconds also left. I mean, Alayla has to win this game.
Yeah.
Wait, Alayla just cannot win, no matter what. 55 seconds. Even if they win this game, they cannot win game 3. So this is over. But it'd be a lot cooler if it.
Oh, I mean, the opponent's only at 2 minutes. If they putz around with their clock, maybe you could get something going.
Yeah, but as it stands, this is gonna be the game here. And what an incredible game setting match here from Alayla and Osunk. Incredible stuff. Oath made it to the finals. I mean, I'm mind blown. That game was incredible.
There's just when you're ahead in any game of Magic, you always want to think, what are my opponent's outs?
Yes.
What are their ways of getting back in the game? And usually that's a pretty easy aspect of Magic. You know your opponent's deck list.
Yes.
But there's just so many crazy things you can do in Vintage.
And there's so many restricted cards. So all these one-ofs really lead to, just an outrageous sequence of draws that you can have. And that was just masterfully played from both players, to be honest. I think clock was going to become a big factor in game 3 anyways, but
maybe the problem was force negationing the Demonic Tutor.
Yeah,
because you were racing. Maybe they probably wouldn't have had enough mana to play 2 spells at that point that you had to counter.
Well, here's the problem with that. That Demonic Tutor was going to get recall.
Yeah.
And if you recall right away, do you let recall resolve when you have one force negation and they have one card in hand?
Maybe that was the way to win the game. As is, you allowed a different sequence of outs. Ancestral can obviously find threat plus counterspell, but is that more or less likely than them just drawing Show and Tell plus Atraxa? I don't know.
Oh my god. I don't know. Regardless, that was incredible. And I think I'm a Vintage fan now, man. This is awesome.
It's a fun format.
It is a fun format. But we got one more match coming from you. We got 2 players that are going to be coming to the end of the year, December Invitational here for Mana Traders. But we still got to give away a trophy. These players are going to be playing for $1,000 here in the next round.
Still plenty to play for, and these, really a fitting finals because these are the 2 best performing decks.
Yes.
Both put 3 copies in the top 8, the Dimir Control with Bowmaster, and then this Oath deck, which we were really impressed with yesterday. So no surprise that these 2 decks are meeting in the finals.
Yep, Osunk and Allies Forever. Right on the other side of this break, we're going to take a short 5-minute break, and we'll be right back with the finals here of the Mana Trader series. Don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, welcome back here to the finals of the Mana Trader series featuring Vintage. We got Allies Forever against Usonk. The 2 best decks, Dimir Control up against Oath the Druids. Looks like Allies Forever is on the play. This is the finals, Ross. What a tournament this has been.
I mean, just so many swingy games. I wouldn't be surprised if we get 3 more in this finals match.
Twists and turns galore.
And looks like two pretty weak hands to start, though.
Yep.
Solid cards in Usang's hand, but not the mana to deploy them.
Yeah.
This one is much better. They've got a turn two Oath with Force backup and the Forbidden Orchard to give a creature. Probably put back the Flusterstorm and hope to draw a different blue card. So if you draw a different blue card to pitch the forest, then you still have Show and Tell Atraxa,
Yeah.
even if that doesn't work.
I mean, Show and Tell Atraxa, could that even be a good play? I mean, I feel like we haven't seen that at any meaningful time in this tournament. So
Your
I don't
opponent gets to
know.
put in something too.
Yeah, exactly. Like they could put in a manifold key, Ross.
Well, instead they put the Show and Tell back, which
I think I like that. Protect the druid.
yeah, Atraxic is pitchable to Force of Will as well. So
Yeah.
now if you need to wait or if you find a Mox, you can have the Flusterstorm and a Force up.
Yeah. So if we were to top deck any kind of mana accelerant, Soul Ring on the next turn or a Mox on the following turn, Oath of Druid could just take over. So
Ooh.
that being said, I do kind of like Allies Forever's Keep as well. It looks kind of weak, but it's really hard to turn down turn one Soul Ring.
Yeah, Soul Ring's nice. It'll help the Saga turn on. No Graph Digger's Cage in the main, so there's no threat for Usunk here of that Urza Saga finding a way to shut down Oath of Druids.
Okay, that's a big deal.
But we do have, some Wastelands for things. The Polluted Delta means you can actually play around Wastelands.
Yeah,
pretty
let's
well.
see. I was thinking that too. If Osag really has a solid read on this, being able to just play Polluted Delta, say go, tap Forbidden Orchard, Oath, with Wasteland not having a chance to do anything seems
Yeah.
excellent.
And with these decks on really low land counts because of Luring Revealed, they're all playing utility lands and duels. There's not actually that many fetch lands to make this play around Wasteland. So
Yeah.
I imagine Allies Forever kept thinking these Wastelands were going to be pretty live.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the one Polluted Delta doing a lot of work.
So that being said, this Lorien Revealed has to get blue to be able to cast Spell Pierce, and then you don't have a force pitchable target. So there's no double counterspell right now. I'm seeing in my magic crystal ball that we're gonna have an Oath of Druid on the battlefield next turn.
Yes, and a Spirit on Allies' side of the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, if there was one island, Allies Forever would have had the perfect play of Spell Pierce it, the force comes back, and then you just force it back, and then you wasteland both lands. So Allies Forever would just absolutely dominate this game with one blue mana source here. But as it stands, I think this is going to be a huge advantage to Osaka.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree. And that's just, sort of one turn away, really. The this game, these games turn on a very razor thin margins.
Yeah.
It's one mana or one turn.
Now the real question is, what do you do? Do you still cycle Lorien Reveal to try to get a blue mana source? Because one thing you can do is tap Soul Ring, untap it. Tap Soul Ring, 3 mana, cycle Lorien Revealed, play a blue source, make a construct. That looks like the line.
Yeah. This still leaves up both Spell Pierce and Force of Will. You weren't going to have both anyway.
Yeah.
And you still get to make a construct if you want to.
Yep.
So.
I think I like it.
That's not going to be good enough. Forbidden Orchard, Oath, Force, blue card.
Name a more iconic trio? All right, here's the portrait of the Forbidden variety. Polluted Delta, gonna get a land, maybe even a basic. Basic island would be pretty nice. Knowing what we know.
And this is one of the reasons we've been praising the Oath deck all weekend. This was a control mirror. You'd be forcing through a Bowmaster here, which would be good.
Yeah.
But it would afford a lot more counterplay, whereas putting a Trax onto the battlefield almost ends the game on the spot.
Yeah. So now we're going to see this Spell Pierce. You don't have to use the Force of Will. Force coming back, and Oath of Druid with your opponent having some creatures. I smell an Atraxa.
Smells good.
For one of the players. Smells real scary for another player.
Pitch the Pierce to the Forest. That's definitely the weakest blue card in hand. Keep the Atraxa around in case you draw a Flash or Show and Tell.
And blink and you miss it. Looks like Oath of Druid is going to put an Atraxa into play. Now, this isn't automatically GG. Force a negation right on time. Let's make another one. And now, is there any 0 drop that you can get to interact with this?
No, it's all mana or baubles.
Yeah, or Black Lotus. That doesn't do it, right? Urza Saga getting Black Lotus is kind of messed up. I will say. It's not like particularly great right now. It's just in general.
Yeah, definitely definitely a nice one. Now, as good as Atraxa is, Time Vault off the top would be very good. So I would suggest drawing that one if I were
Okay.
LS forever.
Okay. Okay.
Just draw Time Vault.
Draw Time Walk. Easy.
Draw all the Time Walks.
Yeah. Time Walk, give some of these constructs a way through. Or, I mean, isn't it better just draw Time Vault?
That is the word that I said.
I thought you said Time Walk. Excuse me. I try not to listen to you, but I'm kind of forced to at this point.
Yeah, it's the only downside of this job.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so Wasteland, probably going to pick off one of these lands. Maybe. I mean, the damage is already done. I could see not even wasting just because you need the mana yourself.
Yeah, but they were about to draw a bunch of cards, so mana is pretty valuable for them.
Well, here, you can untap Soul Ring and then buy Lurrus. It's always buy Lurrus, bro.
Lurrus a clock.
Do you think they're going to activate this Oath of Druids ability, Ross?
I would select yes.
Okay. Good expert commentary.
Now,
Here comes the tracks up. We got some cards. Let's see what we find. There is that one of Gaia's Blessing. So if you want to be Atraxing multiple times, you can shuffle your cards into the graveyard.
looks like they are actually not playing the Guy's Blessing. So
oh, really? Okay. A different list that was playing that. And it makes sense. Whenever we've seen that card draw, it looks awful.
Yeah, and it hasn't really been needed.
Yeah.
Stop you from decking. Looks like only 4 cards off the Atraxis, so not the best.
Oh, only 4 cards on a 7/7 Vigilance, Flying, Lifelink, or Death Touch?
Oko, Force Will, Flooded Strand, Gitaxian Probe. I've seen better Atraxa triggers.
okay. This guy, picky.
Okay. Probe, so they know exactly what's what on the other side.
Okay,
Beseiju is great.
Beseiju is huge. Now you have the line to uncounterably deal with the whole key Time Vault plan. You're able to have Force to push it through. I don't want to call it this early, but how's the time lock? Okay. I guess maybe do you even do that? Because we already played a land, right? I mean, as it stands, it's gonna work. Because you time walk and then you force back, but it's kind of scary and risky. Probably not that much, right? Here's the thing that punishes you: double force and time vault in the hand with your.
You just probed your opponents. So you know what's.
Oh yeah, never mind. Okay,
yeah, so
probe's an unfair card.
Yeah, they know they have the force back for this force of negation. Well,
vintage.
Yeah. I said I have seen better Atraxa triggers. I don't think I've seen many better brainstorms than that. That was Demonic Tutor, Tinker, Time Walk. Just 3 restricted bangers.
Just right off the top.
Yeah. That was then immediately ended the game.
All right. So we're going to be heading to the next game. And if you're just joining us here on the Mana Trader series, first of all, welcome. Thank you for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. We do these coverages here usually the last weekend of the month. Sometimes it varies based on scheduling and stuff like that. But next month, it is going to be Modern for any Modern fans. So it's going to be an open series, which just means you do not have to go through that qualifying season. So if you want to play next month, maybe have your matches commentated by a couple dashing young men, you can join on in. Bring out your best Modern deck. Now, it's going to be a large event, not necessarily a 7-round tournament like we saw here with Vintage. That one will be big. So winning that tournament is going to feel like an impressive feat, and it will be.
Yeah, it will definitely be. That'll be a big field and a tough field.
Yeah.
You know, we got a lot of regular players here over the years on the Mana Trader series, and they bring it.
They're good. Yeah, they're absolutely multi-format all-stars that get to play from their pajamas. And this tournament would be free for you, so just free tournament where you could win 3K. Check that out on the Mana Traders thing for more details. All right, Ross, what are we looking like?
Up top, I'm seeing a turn 1 show and tell, but nothing to show.
Is there anything to tell?
We can time walk and try to dig for it, but
you just can't keep those hands in Vintage, can you?
I mean, they're not great, but maybe you can. You have the Beseiju, which is quite good. And then down at the bottom, Kind of a slow hand, no artifact mana. And we're gonna have to cycle for a blue source with the Lorien revealed, but Ancestral Recall is really good.
Ancestral Recall is hard to pass up. You
You
know,
know?
and at some point, this saga is going to get a blue source. It could get Black Lotus to dig you out of all your worries and problems. I've never seen more turn one Urza sagas than I have in Vintage. It's like the choice land. We're like, I need to get this in chapter 3 immediately. You gonna activate it? No, 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 no. Oh God, no.
Okay, well, that's a keep, and this Urza Saga might get Besaju'd, but honestly, that's probably fine. Now we,
I don't think that's gonna happen because you just give them the land. I bet we're gonna go for a little time. Yeah.
yeah, you definitely time walk first.
Okay. Kin Osung top deck show and tell into Atraxa?
They already had the show and tell. They
Well,
drew
come
the
on,
force.
come on.
Just 2 draws, 2 Distraxa.
Oath of Druid. Okay, you don't have the other piece, but do
Yeah.
you just play it? Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, there is one reason to wait. You can wait till next turn where you can have force backup.
Yeah.
You know, that is tempting. Not tempting enough. Both the Druids on the battlefield. Now Besaju's live, if need be. And we're going to see this Lorien revealed cycled, get an underground seat. And honestly, depending on when this recall's fired off, we easily might just see that get forced.
Yeah, definitely. And you've got enough mana that even if allies tries to ancestral on Usung's turn, you can just hard cast the force.
One thing I bet we won't see, even if we see a top decked Mox or something, is make a construct, especially on their main phase. That is one play I bet we won't see, y'all.
Really have, in only 2 days have become a vintage expert. Corey.
God, thank you. You know what? I like to say I'm a fast learner. My parents disagreed, but
Parents, teachers, basically every adult in
Principals.
your entire childhood.
Coaching staff. Fiance, dog. Yeah, they've all disagreed. But you know what? A lot of people can be wrong. Look at you. You're wrong quite often.
Never wrong. I can't even imagine what it's like to be.
Can you imagine what it's like to be delusional?
Yes.
Okay. At least you're self-aware.
Let's not go that far.
Okay. All right, Lorien revealed. Gonna be revealing a land here in a sec.
More like aware of the delusional person that I think I
am. Okay. So you're basically Keanu Reeves in the first Matrix, huh? Like you figured it out.
Yeah, I would say I'm basically Keanu Reeves.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Maybe a little more handsome
though. Yeah, okay. Sure.
Okay, a couple lands coming, one from the cycle, one from the draw step. And so now we can play Key and just hold up Spell Pierce, I guess. These Spell Pierces are looking kind of poopy.
Yeah, I don't think I necessarily want to Spell Pierce, but I'm wondering if you recall in your upkeep before land 5 is found to maybe hardcast a Force of Will. As we know, that is not going to work well, but it might be tempting. Maybe you fire it off now. There's key. If perfect information, you'd fire it off now. You know, now you wait and you don't have to get rid of the show and tell. So I think that seems less exciting, but oh my God.
That was good.
Sung's like, God, this deck is easy. You just tutor every turn.
Oh, counter that.
Oh man.
Give you a spirit.
Oh man. Sung, I think might be our September champion.
Oh, you found Grafgir's Cage? I have the Besage for that. Nice Spell Pierce.
Oh God. Just everything worked out poorly, as well as how Allies Forever decided to sequence this. And by no shape or means do I think these were any mistakes or anything. I think Allies Forever has played probably the best. I don't want to say the best. Both players have been playing excellent, but has been playing some great Magic. But now we have the Grafdigger's Cage, and there's just the Besaiju for that too. Like, just has it all.
Exactly enough mana to do everything.
Yeah, it just works out perfectly. Osung has been tutoring every turn.
Oh, you have a Luris? That's nice.
Yeah. On the bright side, I mean, to be fair, Luris can get back Cage, right? So you get the one Atraxa.
But you don't even have the mana for that. They're on 2 mana right now.
Well, they're about to be on 3. And then they're going to go up
Yeah.
to 4 with Lorian's revealed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're going to have this one turn.
And you have the soul rend for that? So you have the
Yeah.
maybe this might turn around.
Yeah, we cannot
Okay,
count
yeah.
anyone out at any point ever.
You'd think we would have
okay?
learned our lesson.
No, every time we're like, God, this just keeps happening, but we're making no changes to
Oh, we've gone from delusional to insane.
yes. Pure definition of insanity, expecting a different result after all of this keeps happening.
Okay,
Vintage
well,
magic.
what does
ladies
the
and
attraction
gentlemen.
trigger reveal? Because any counterspell for the Luris will end the game.
Yeah. And I mean, that's 10 cards coming in. Could be a time walk too. I guess that was cast pretty early, so that's not going to be an option.
Yeah.
Show and tell for something big as well.
Yeah, if we just find another Atraxa, we can get another trigger off the show and tell.
Yeah,
But then
you
show
do
and tell
put
puts
Luris
into play.
Yeah. Vampiric
Ooh.
Tutor, Boseiju. Okay, so we're going to tutor now.
So there's the second Boseiju, so we can deal with the second Cage, and Oko deals with the Luris.
Yeah. Vampiric Tutor is going to find something. Put that card on top, and then how do you draw that card? You really can't right now, right?
Yeah, no.
I guess Lorian revealed. Played a land.
Yeah, but then you'd be tapped out and have to use the Boseiju. I think this is just setting up for next turn. Not sure what that, like, normally I would say find Time Walk, but we've already cast that.
Yeah.
Could be finding Tinker or the Bolus of Citadel.
Okay. It's forcible.
We have Forcible in hand.
Vampiric Tutor, I thought that puts it on top.
It does.
Oh. Maybe our graphic was just a little delayed on that.
Vampiric Tutor into basic land cycle is not a great sequence.
Okay, are we misreading Vampiric Tutor?
It puts it on top and you lose 2 life.
Put it on top of it.
I think they might have just been rushing through this sequence. But I also think there just was a Force of Will in their hand.
Okay, here's Broco. They didn't get one off Atraxa. Our director is in my ear, also confused. So, Twitch chat, we need you here. We'll get you there.
There's Force Pitching Show and Tell to protect the Oko.
Okay. And now you still have Boseiju active.
Okay, turn off your key so you can't draw Vault. So we're just, doing that. Cut off your outs.
That being said, Soul Rend here on Atraxa. It's definitely a thing.
Now we can attack the Oko down to 1. But then you just trigger the Oath again.
So now you can either Luris and bring back Cage and hope there's not another Boseiju, or you can just give it up. Sunk wins the match. I'm still not sure about that Vampiric Tutor play. I think we're missing something here. Or maybe just the graphic was a little delayed. But either way, huge congratulations to Osunk winning the Mana Traders Vintage Series here for September.
Yeah, and really just showed the power of the Oath deck,
Oh no, they showed it and they told it.
That was in the semis.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've been talking about the Oath deck all weekend, so fitting that it would win. I do think it looked like the best deck over the course of the weekend. The Dimir deck impressed today. It has a Luris is just incredibly good.
Yeah, so here's the thing. All the Lurist interactions and stuff made this Dimir control deck look on the same level, or at least the same playing field as these Oath decks. But the Oath deck just definitely felt like it was inherently doing more busted stuff. And it felt like things had to go slightly wrong for them to not make it. And I mean, that is kind of how a combo deck plays. But they're a combo control deck with all this access to all this free counter spells. You had so many access to great fast mana as well. Like, the deck just looked in a whole nother field to me, and something that I would be very interested in playing if I was going to play a vintage event.
Yeah, definitely. Looked really fun to play. Deck has a ton of angles. You've got the Tinker plan for Bolus' Citadel as well. And I think the key for me is that Atraxa plays such good defense against the shop decks and the initiative deck.
Yeah,
and you're able to just Oath against them, and whereas the Dimir deck, you can definitely win those matches, but it's a huge slog.
Yeah, and that's another thing. The initiative decks, putting up 25% for the metagame breakdown when we started, and only putting one copy into the top eight. Eventually, did make it to top four, one win short of that qualification, but it looked ridiculously good at times, and then it just looked so bad at times. So initiative, I still hate that deck, but it also just didn't look that good.
It,
You
it
know?
it has a lot of all-in draws,
Yeah.
and if you look at the sideboards for the other decks, they're clearly coming prepared.
Yeah.
Soul Rend is this sideboard card that seems like in every deck that can cast it in
Yeah.
their sideboard because it deals with all the initiative creatures, deals with Lurrus, deals with
Yeah.
Atraxa out of the Oath decks, so has a lot of versatility in the format. They're bringing in things like Fatal Push. They're bringing, they know that
Yeah.
they need to mulligan aggressively to their early Force of Wills, and we saw the Mindbreak Trap game in the
Oh
semifinals
God.
where they just went all in at turn
Oh my
one
God. That was
on a
a blowout.
Dungeoneer with
Yeah.
Cavernous Souls, and it still wasn't good enough. So, when you're a deck that doesn't have a lot of wiggle room, doesn't have a lot of maneuverability in your tactics,
Yeah.
and your opponents are all aware of what your game plan is, it's just pretty easy to shut down.
Yep, that makes sense. And I mean, another reason we saw these Demir control decks that kind of dismantled these initiative decks. Whenever you play a Dungeoneer or something and you go Bowmaster, deal one to them, and then untap, kill that creature, take the initiative, like that was a really popular play pattern we saw. And that's just putting levels above the initiative deck, in my opinion, and just making the deck maybe just not as good. It seems like you should be playing Demir control, you should be playing Oath if you want to have some success in this tournament. I think the jig is all the way up. That deck was really cool as well. That's where my heart lied, but my head would be pointing to Oath for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely agree. Oath, I've said it multiple times. It just has the best combination of
Yeah.
really powerful, proactive, I can ignore what you're doing because what I'm doing is better
Yep.
gameplay, and also can play the reactive, okay, I'm just going to stop what you do, draw some extra cards, win the
Yep.
attrition war, and find a way to win later on in the game.
Well, yep, totally agree with you. But I got to say, this tournament was an absolute delight. There were so many twists and turns. There were so many crazy top decks. We had some nice called shots. That was a nice show and tell into attract a call. I'll give you props on that. That one was really impressive. I didn't even see that until it was happening right in front of us. That was incredible. So, Vintage Magic, pretty awesome. I want to thank everybody who watched this vintage tournament. Maybe not necessarily everyone's favorite tournament or something that people are not really used to a lot, but watching this format, it definitely makes me want to play by the end of it. It is so cool. And with Mana Traders loan programs, this is actually one of the cheaper formats to get into, which is kind of wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the power online is very affordable,
Yeah.
and so well within the budget constraints of
Yep.
the different tiers that you can get through Mana Traders. So yeah, if you watched and saw how exciting this format was, that's the word that comes to me. Like the
Yes.
gameplay is just so exciting. It's super intense right
Yeah.
from the early turns. There's huge swings. You're never really out of it. You can come back from seemingly desperate positions with frightening regularity as we saw
Yes.
throughout the tournament. So super exciting. It definitely made me interested in playing the format.
Same.
And the Mana Traders loan service makes it easy to get into it if you're interested as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Loan service is definitely the way to do it. Now, these payouts for these tournaments are adjusted for the people that have the loan program. And let's get real, it's everyone. There's a huge prize increase if you do have this loan service. So if you want to take part in this series next month and you want to win your piece of that $10,000 that Mana Traders graciously gives away every single month, join that loan service, exclamation point Bash Bros in the chat. That'll give you 15% off your first 2 months. So you know what? Give it a shot. Get 15% off. Try the next two end of season, or excuse me, end of month tournaments. We got Modern for this one. We'll be announcing the format after that next month when we do the Modern. And that's the last two. That's your last two chances to qualify for that December end of the year tournament.
Yeah, and that's a big tournament, ton of money on the line. Will be a relatively small field, but a dense field, and definitely a huge accomplishment to qualify for that, and something you're running out of chances to do.
Exactly. And we'll have Dom Harvey returning and defending that title. It is going to be always a 3 format tournament as well. So you got to know your stuff. You can't have one really weak format because if you bomb one format, you're out. You
Get out of here.
Get out of here. You got to be good at all kinds of format. We haven't decided exactly what we're doing for those yet, but we'll keep you updated. So
We're gonna play Vintage, Prismatic, and 2001 Extended.
Yes, absolutely. That's totally it. Quote Ross on that on the internet. That's definitely not what's going to be happening. So, Ross, any final thoughts before we send out of here on the Mana Trader series or Vintage?
Vintage is completely ridiculous,
Completely
but
bonkers.
super fun. I've
Yeah.
never had more exciting Magic to commentate over.
Yes.
It was a blast, and
Agreed.
honestly, I kind of want to do it again.
I know. It's kind of unfortunate we only do one vintage tournament a year because, well, there are more popular tournaments. But that's the nice thing about the Mana Trader series. We go through everything. You're gonna get to play Pauper. You're gonna get to play Vintage, Legacy, and then of course the popular ones, Modern, Pioneer, with a little bit more regularity to get your fix on any kind of format on Magic Online. You know, my favorite way to play Magic. I love Magic Online.
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
the best way to play Magic. digitally.
Definitely, definitely. All right, everyone. So that is going to do it for Ross and I. We will probably be seeing you next week. We're still figuring out the exact dates of that tournament, but like I said, that will be modern. So get your modern decks already. So for Ross Merriam, for Adrian, that's pressing all the buttons, I'm Corey Baumeister. We'll see you next time.